Hello, everybody. Welcome to Aurora Overwatch Clash Season 7 with the BOON1E Bowl here, brought to us with the Blahajs, Barrier Reef Blahajs versus the Swagosaurus squad. I'm WYND. I'm brought here with FlamboJambo with Corey on the prod, and we're going to a little bit of pregame before we go into Oasis. So, what are your thoughts going on into this match here, Flambo?
Yeah, good afternoon, good evening. Hello, everybody. I'm excited for this match. Again, we were discussing a little bit in pre-match here, but both these teams very threatening. A lot of all-star players on both these teams, and deservedly in the grand finals. For the key things I'm looking for this match is I'm looking at obviously this tank matchup that everybody is excited for, right? Both Spike and McChicken, first round picks in the draft. I believe they were picks 7 and 8, one right after each other, and
Hmm.
being these two strong tank players coming in here, uh, both playing very different styles on these two separate teams, right? So um, very excited. I'm sure we're gonna have a very impressive match and showing, as both these teams have worked really hard to get to this spot.
Exactly. I can completely agree with you. As you said, both tanks are going to be very high SR tank players, so they're going to probably see them cancel each other out a little bit here, which is going to be a little bit interesting for at least me to see how the Swagasaurus squad is going to do this, because normally they've just been putting a lot of resources into Fancy and just letting him be able to carry games, but I'm wondering to see how Spice going to be able to negate some of that, especially with the interesting pick here of probably going to be seeing Venture from Void Fiber, which, again, as you said, it's a little problematic, especially because you're just gonna have to see how the Swagosaurus squad is gonna be able to deal with that. But
Mhm.
I think it's going to be very interesting to see how the Swags are going to deal with this venture, because normally you'd be seeing like Riddle Dog on the Ash here, and something like Dong on Pharah, or you'd see like a Bastion. But I'm wondering how they're gonna handle out playing against the Void Fiber as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, to be honest, and from playing both these teams, right? Both of these teams are very good at being very annoying, respectfully. Uh, obviously the Swagasaurus, they've found a lot of stock in, McChicken playing that Zarya, playing that Diva, just kind of being that dominant force, right? But that being said, you can't really count out anybody else on that team, right? Like, Real Dog has really been putting in the value here on DPS. He's only calced at like 3.2 on the sheet, and he's been getting like 4K, 5Ks every single map playing this Sojourn, as well as of course Dong Waggler here, currently on the bench, but will be heading in. Uh, I think if they have Dong Waggler on their signature characters, playing some of that Torbjorn, Bastion, Farah, that's just things that that's very dive heavy core of excuse me, of the Blowhigh aren't really going to mesh well into, right? So I'm curious to see what adaptations are made of both of these teams, as it looks like we're heading into this first map.
Yes, it is, and the first map is again gonna be picked by the Barrier Reef Blahas, as they are the number 1 seed going into this. Going in for the Oasis pick, which is going to be very dive centralized, except for you're going to see we're on University here first. You're going to see a little bit more brawl here coming out from both teams, probably.
Mhm.
But, I mean, anything could happen here. You could still see a Winston. You could still see Zarya coming out from McChicken, but you haven't been seeing too much Zarya ever since the nerf to the energy gain. But, hey, I'm incorrect, as you can see it here, as McChicken Fancy is going to be coming out on the Zarya. With Rue on the Venture, what are your thoughts on that?
So I'm very interested to see Rue on the Venture, right? Obviously, we are very much so expecting Void Fiber to play on the Venture, as that is what they do. As well as against Spicer, or excuse me, Skycer on that Genji character that they really like playing as well. But I mean, again, I think this is just comfort right now for the Swagosaurus squad, having McChicken just start on the Zarya, test it out. If they're struggling on it, I'm sure they'll make adaptations, as they're one of the best teams at doing so in this league.
Oh yeah, I completely agree with you. And then also looking at their team comps, you're gonna be seeing an Orisa Genji going into his Zarya, which is gonna be a little bit interesting to see how they play here. Is they're gonna have to play a little bit more to their space, but both teams are sticking on separate sides at the point, waiting for it to open up, and then they're both gonna be able to make their moves. But only time will tell is the next 5 seconds, as both teams are finally going to each other's mains, and now decided to start the fight now. When the point opens up, you're gonna see the first bubble coming out from McChicken, forcing out the dig by Void Fiber. No bubbles for Fancy. Spike is going to be able to see this opportunity, being able to walk up a little bit, looking for a nice little pick, as now the capture has gone to the side of the Blahajs, as they're just going to be able to walk and take their space. And now the Swagosaurus are back on their main, as Void Fiber is going to fall down first to McChicken, who has full energy. Skyster's looking in for a trade, but the bubble from McFancy going into onto Riddlebug is going to keep him up, with Wiggle being able to get the pick onto Skyster, and then Fancy being able to get War again. This is shaping up to be a nice little fight 1 win here for the Swagosaurus squad, with 22% for the Reef Blahajs.
Yeah, and again, we do see swaps coming through immediately already here. Despite having 80% ult charge here from Spiky, they do opt to swap over onto that Zarya. But again, really well played there by the Swagosaurus squad. They didn't have the high ground control early, but they played their tempo really well. McChicken knows those cooldowns on Zarya like the back of their hand. They punished Void Fiber by trying to go in aggressive, try to get that pick early. Had the bubbles to stay alive, as now they will be matched on his high ground, as Wiggle Higgle might be in a little bit of trouble, but no, they will live off of a nice CC by Kara.
Oh yeah, both teams are looking at mirror comps here. It's just whoever gets a better bubble cycle here. As the point is still in favor of the Swagosaurus squad, as they're able to stud on this high ground. You're going to see both Kitsunes come out from both Kirikos very fast. Void Fiber at 1 HP does dive in a little too far, does get picked by the flashbang by Riddledog. As now we're going to see the disadvantage, as Para is going to be able to get a nice little pick on the Spike, as you're going to be able to hold this energy advantage going in after you still had the capture. As now the cleanup coming out from McChicken being able to get War, Skycer, and then Riddle being able to clean up on Silvertals. We're looking at 50%. Wow, we're seeing a lot of ults coming up online for the Swagosaurus squad.
Yeah, and only really beat to answer, but you can go beat for beat here. Wiggle Higgle has it as well as War. The big thing here is, again, I think Void Fiber is just getting punished by being so aggressive, right? The Zarya from McChicken is just so strong and punishing those very aggressive, you know, dig in and go look for the kill, as now the fight does come through. The grab is big. It forces the beat, but Wiggle can respond if they want to, but no. McChicken just kills Skyster to the high noon in the backline from Riddle as well to confirm the fight. Rue Lapidus as well using that Terra, I don't know what it's actually called, but again, a very decisive fight win at 80% and counting for the Swagosaurus squad.
I think this is very beneficial here for the Reef Blahajs, as they just were able to get 3 ultimates out. All the swags have left is just the beat, but you're not going to be able to have any other ults except for your Tectonic Shock here from the Venture. You're going to have to be able to fight on point very quickly. The first bubble coming out from McChicken very early, as we're going to see Void Fiber using the Tectonic Shock, looking for a pick. Riddle falling down to low HP. Getting the pick. There's no more beat in time for the side of the Swagosaurus squad, as now it looks like the Reef Blahajs are just going to be able to take the point, and Fancy is going to lose all of that energy advantage that we previously saw, all for the cost of just the Tectonic Shock.
Yeah, an absolute hero plays there by Void Fiber, finding Wiggle Higgle. Taking that beat out of the fight makes that fight not winnable at all for the side of the Swagosaurus squad. They're doing so well kiting out it. You know, no one was really dying to it, and if Wiggle was able to re-engage with that beat, I think that would have been all they wrote for this first sub map. But as we will approach here, it looks like both teams scouting each other out as the Noon and Rush are popped.
Oh yeah, High Noon coming out early here from Skycer, looking to zone out, does cancel a little bit early, with War getting the pick on a pair. Very nice, is now the Kitsune coming out from the side of the Blahajs, as McChicken is going to fall down to Spike after that, losing that energy advantage now. Spike is just going to be able to slow roll this, getting 1, getting 2, next getting Riddledog and Silvertals is going to be able to get the pick on to Rue, with now just the grab coming up from the side of the Blahajs versus just the beat still, but now it's going to be scary as Fancy's getting close as well.
Yeah, so almost an exact mirror of the situation we had earlier in this map, is again both teams going very fast here to set up. Void Fiber getting caught out a little bit early, but the pokes still just coming out. The grab does come through, the beat is there to keep them up. However, is it going to be enough? That does so much damage, but no, Wiggle gets the trade out on War. This is going to be such a big position here as the engagement. Rue Lapidus the grab as well to confirm, and I believe that'll be it on this map, as Spike will die to their own right click. It's just Skycer alive on that side of the map. Will roll on to try to touch, but I don't think anyone will be able to get there in time. It's just gonna be War if he's able to slide on. No! So that first sub map going the way of the Swagosaurus squad.
Yeah, it is something you can see. I don't think Spike realized that they still had beat holding onto this, because he did go a little bit deeper after going in, trying to body block the heals here from the Kiriko, or might even be looking to block the beat. Possibly. I think Wiggle was in the grab though, so he wasn't going to be able to block the beat, but it looked like he just overstepped his positioning just a little bit too far there, and then just gets picked out for it, as has to force both bubbles very quickly, and then Fancy, who's already 75% charged to that ultimate, was just able to build up the rest of it and be able to use, and it just was devastating here.
Yeah, and again, I think, again, we're seeing why both these teams are so strong, right? Both these teams are doing so well. We saw that tempo and momentum, right, on that last map, both with the Zarya and the venture by both these teams, knowing when to engage, when to disengage, and taking those fights so fast, using that Zarya charge so effectively, both Spike and McChicken, as now we see mostly different comps, and by that I mean just the tanks have swapped here on City Center.
Well, yeah, you do see Skycer on the Genji as well now, so it's also just another swap. But yeah, both teams are looking pretty static here with how they want to be playing this. His point's going to be opening up now with just the tanks on the objective, just looking to neutral out. And now the fight really begins as McChicken's going in very fast, burns all the armor from Spike. Does get a little bit split though from his team. Going to be poked out just a little bit here. You're seeing the dig from Void Fiber. He's not able to go in as his Winston's not going to be able to jump in. But, I mean, both teams are just slowly contesting here. But you can see here on the side of the Blahajs, they're able to take a lot of space. And there's this separation that you can see very early on. As Rue is going to get 2 with the dig 3. Looking down the pick on War as well. Very huge here. Riddle's going to be able to get up Spike. What a massive dig here, folks. As that's going to be the Swagosaurus squad going to be able to take with a nice little 3-piece here from Rue.
And just really good patience again from the side of the Swag squad, right? They just had McChicken playing alone on point because McChicken's really the only person who can play alone on point, right? They made the rest of the team look so juicy there on such a nice dive, and Rue Lupinus is almost playing this venture like a Torbjorn, playing in that backline, just keeping their team safe with that dig, with that boop on Spike when they tried to engage. So really well done as both these teams will try to posture. As the engage does come through now, and Skycer gets blown up immediately. The Winston's getting chunked down, is getting DM'd over, won't be able to heal up. Is chased down by McChicken in that battling. War alone on point will get blown up by Rue Lupinus. Again, Swag squad are looking in so much control here on this point.
Oh yeah, especially how ultimates are now finally coming online. You're going to be seeing the High Noon and the Kitsune Rush here coming out from the side of the Swagosaurus with nothing entirely close yet except for Void Fiber. As Spike is going to go for the mirror here and Skycer going over to the Pharah. All you really have here on the side of the Blahajs is just to play a little bit slow, build your Kitsune, build your Tectonic Shock, because you're not going to have any answers for the 5 ultimates coming online here.
Yeah, we do see that swap over onto the Pharah, but again, Real Talk is on this Cassie, is able to hold on these angles, as well as McChicken on this Pharah will be able to DM Skycer if Skycer really becomes a problem here. The rush does come out from Para early in this fight. Wiggle Higgle may get caught out here, but no, they live. McChicken is there to keep everyone alive. Skycer will fall. The High Noon as well in response by Real Dog to blow everybody up. Spike falling very, very low. 1 HP, the Tectonic Shock will kill Real Dog, but Spike's mech is straight out. War will die before they're able to get the beat. And again, Swag's Water just staying so strong here, in control of the point. Void Fiber trying to find anything, but we'll just get staggered down on point as they die to Lupinus. And again, Swag Squad still have 3 ults to work with into both support ults from the Blowhigh.
You can just see that the tempo that they're taking here is very nice, but they're also playing very patiently with their ultimates. You could tell that Fancy is really out here calling out what we're using for what, and maybe the 8 scrims a week is really helping out as they're just able to have the attention. Is now we're going to see the Kitsune coming out fast first here by Silvertall, is trying to take open to the space, responded to the beat with Wiggle, and then we're going to see the better beat coming out by War as both teams are still fighting. The biggest difference here is now we're low, every ultimate coming online from the Swagosaurus squad, the bomb finding War, and Spike forcing to use bomb very early, as now we're going to have to see somebody has to be sitting on point, and it's no longer going to be Void Fiber as he falls down next. As we're looking at Spike is just looking for the pick here onto the backline, staggering his Fancy, just going to be able to sit onto the objective full HP, still threatening getting the pick on the Skycer. As now it's looking like Wiggle being able to get the next pick. This is going to be a clean 2-0 with the last 100 to 0 percentage here on Oasis, so they could just find War, who's next, and that's going to be a nice little cleanup here in favor of the Swagosaurus squad, as they're going to be able to take the first map in a series of 7.
Yeah, and that was the comp that, you know, the Blowhigh have been winning on all season, that Genji venture, and it was just completely shut down by the Swagosaurus squad. I do need to make a small joke, as again, War was casting our match, and War died to the Poco bombs that
Poco bombs. That
Poco
War so
bomb.
learned about.
But again, man, Fancy on these formerly off tanks are just so scary, and has looked like the absolute answer in these comps. But I also want to make a shout out to Rue Lupinus, right? We expected coming in today Void Fiber to be the person that we're going to talk about on this venture, but Rue really did work on that venture as well on that first map. And you know, I'm just wondering if, you know, the Blowhigh are, you know, maybe getting a little bit of a taste of their own medicine and kind of wondering, what are we going to do to answer this?
Yeah, I can completely agree with you, because the benefit of just being able to play almost exactly the same comp is that no single character is better than the other. All that comes down
Hmm.
is to raw skill, except for the difference between the two tanks, with one being on Diva and one being on Winston. You're going to be seeing the general more dive from the Winston, but being able to have the marking ability from the Diva is just going to be very powerful here, as that's just going to be more threatening because as the Winston goes in first, the Diva's just going to be able to DM the dig from the Venture. When he comes up, he's not going to be able to get any shots out, not look for any picks. It's really just going to harm the team, as it's just going to be Winston being able to use the Tesla cannon to try to get a pick through the DM.
Yeah, I think the a big takeaway from that first map is we're still getting set up to go into this next one is um the Blowhigh just looked uncomfortable that second map. Right? On
Mm.
that first sub point, it looked like both teams are kind of able to play what they want. There was tempo shifts and momentum shifts from both these teams. They looked in control. On that second map, the Blowhigh, that was their comp, right? That was what they've been winning on all season, right? Like the undefeated team, right? And they come here, they get 100-0 on that sub map, right? So now not only is that such a big tempo shift, such a comfort kind of wraparound, right, for this Blahajs, but that's also just the and it's very early, right? That's the very first map of what is going to be a long series today, but that that's kind of put in that seeds of kind of that mental game as well, right?
Mm.
Where the Swagosaurus have kind of put down the glove, right? And they're saying we're gonna play what you play, and we're gonna do it better, and we're gonna beat you on it, right? So I I need to see adjustments here come through from the Blowhigh, and hopefully for them it ends up working.
Yeah, especially because it looks like with the Venture cast, it's really hard to get into these retakes, as you just saw. It was just too hard for them to be able to break past that barrier ever since the first fight happened. But I think the biggest thing here, like you said, it did look a little bit uncomfortable. The way you could probably phrase it is that it seems like the Blahas have not really seen a comp that looks like this before in Aurora, right?
Mhm.
You haven't really seen something that almost mirrors exactly what you're doing, so you just don't know how to respond to it. While on the other hand here, the Swagger squad has those like 15 scrims a week that they're able just to see that the comp that the Blah has really run a stick on and just able to really formulate how they should play into it. It's just very oppressive, as you could just tell.
So if your war here, um, oh okay, so they did choose a map. They opted to go to Watch Point. They don't
Jibby.
get the pick what side. I don't think. I think that is the other team
Mm-mm.
that gets to pick. But we do have Biggie Stretch coming in. Uh, on Watch Point, what adjustments needs to be made?
I think they're really opting to go for this full dive here. Just I think they could stick with it. The one issue I'm seeing here is possibly the brawl potential you might see being held in caves here by the Swagosaurus SWAT if they're gonna stick to this diva. It's just possibly so threatening. But I think it's just more of a mental switch they need to start working. Is they're actually gonna see Dong coming in and Fire coming in. A little bit of insider knowledge that you might be seeing some Fire out here coming out. Maybe to help poke out the Winston and the Venture who's not going to be able to reach as far, but I don't know. It seems pretty interesting to me at least.
Yeah, I'm fully expecting the far out here from Dong Waggler, right? Fire as well. Likely going to be playing. Honestly, likely playing a Kiriko here. They could play the Ana. I wouldn't be surprised if they play the Ana as well. But kind of playing both those things. And again, I'm still liking kind of McChicken and being able to play Diva um, on this map. It's still just something that they're comfortable with. Being able to enable their own Pharah now as well. Again, we know Skyster's going to want to play Genji. Skyster might move over on the hit scan here on Gibraltar, but Void Fiber is still definitely playing that Venture, playing that flex DPS, right? So um, I'm still a little bit worried for the Blowhigh in that you made the swap, right? This is your map, so clearly they're comfortable on it, but it's just something that I feel that the other team, I feel like the Swag Squad are very comfortable on Gibraltar as well, right? So we'll really see how this plays out.
Yeah, I can just see like I think the one way to put what you're thinking in words is comfort's not enough here.
Yeah.
You need to be able to be doing more than just having a comfort pick. You need to be able to figure out ways to really dig into the weaknesses here that the Swags might be able to be having, which I think is going to be very apparent here is going to be point control. Who is
Hmm.
pressuring the objective? Is it going to be the Lucio? Is it going to be the Venture? Because you really don't want to have your Winston on the cart as you're going to want
Hmm.
him to take space or the Diva. It's just who is pressuring the cart. That's something I really want to be seeing here on Gibraltar. It's just going to be so interesting to see how both teams are going to handle the task of doing the objective.
Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah. Well, again, we'll see what happens here. Again, that, and you bring up a great point with the objective control, right? Again, especially look at both these teams, even right. I know Dongwagler does play some tracer if they opt to do that, to just kind of contest the point, play around there. But you usually it's you know uh, the diva will be able to play around there a little bit and contest a little bit. But as you said, for the blowhigh, right? You don't really want your Venture there. Venture needs to set up on this dive. You don't really want your Winston there taking all that poke before the fight. So um, we'll definitely see what happens as we head into this map.
Oh yeah, you are going to be seeing here the Swagosaurus are going to be starting on the defensive side. I think it is going to be a lot easier for
Hmm.
the Swagosaurus squad if they're staying on this Diva to be able to pressure the objective more than it will be when we see the Blahajs if they do stick to the Winston. But we have seen Spike play both so far, Diva and Winston, so you don't know what could possibly come out. But I think the Winston is going to be better for attacking. It's going to be a little bit more awkward on the defensive side, other than just jumping a single Diva. As you are going to see McChicken coming out on the Hog character
Oh, this is
on defense.
something. Yeah, no, this is something they love to. Again, made clips of the week with quite a few plays when they pulled this out before. Again, just the McChicken is playing for fun right now. I mean, Hog still pretty good. I mean, you're probably expecting you're going into the Winston, right, and that kind of dive. But against Ana Zen, we'll see how if McChicken does just get blown up. But again, having Dong Wagler on that Torb as well, just to provide additional support for Riddle Dog set up on this high ground as Ash. It's gonna be so hard to dive this team. So uh, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, you can really just see the Blahas are pretting for this Hog pick with the Ana Zen, which isn't normally what you'd see with Dive, especially with Skycer going back to the Genji. It's Dive with Ana Zen. If they could just be opting to dive this this Hog person who's just a freak of nature on this Hog character, right? Just being able to have the anti and the Discord. His card is going to go under. With a nice little nade here, looking for Big, is just going to be Spike going up by himself. It could be a little threatening as he's just going to have to leave right away as McChicken falls onto one. Almost getting picked, but you know who does get picked is going to be Dongwaggler here by the Void Fiber with the Venture. As now the Riddle Dog getting two after the nade follow-up is massive. The Spike is going to fall down next to Wiggle Higgle. But, I mean, hey, you had the cart moving the whole time. You pretty much just need one more fight to be able to close it out. As now we're going to go after the first minute here of Watchpoint Gibraltar.
And yeah, again, obviously this team is so hard to dive, but again, the downside with this team being, what it is for the Swagosaurus squad is, again, you talked about objective. Who is contesting this part as Void Fiber or Skycer is pushing it all the way to the end? As Void Fiber falls very low. Oh, they do live, but again, Dongwagler being forced to be the person to play around this part isn't able to get much support. So if just Dongwagler is the one getting dove on, that should be in a trade almost every day of the week, as they will be healed up by fire on that high ground and will live this time. But again, it's so difficult, to decide who is contesting this very aggressive cart push.
Yeah, I do think they get a nice little answer here. Having Dong is just a makeshift Reaper here. As Skycer is set up for the dive, Void Fiber is set up for the dive, and you're seeing Spike onto the Diva now. As now that the Swagosaurus know this, they are cutting to the servers room, playing for a more defensive hold. As the nade comes out, does not hit anything, unfortunately, for Fires. McChicken is split by himself. If anybody's able to punish it, you're going to be seeing the whole hog coming out very early with Riddle Dog getting another headshot. Nice little pick here. I think it's been 4, so 5. Make that. Holy Riddle Dog here, Riddle Pog even, going crazy on this nice little Ash character as he gets another with the dynamite. Riddle right now is doing so much, being able to have just this threat of the poke, making it so hard here for the dive to be able to get set up. as now it's a minute 30 left on the clock here with ultimates online for the Swagosaurus squad with just the nano here from the Blaha.
And, you know, I said it at the start of the match, and I'll say it again. You don't want to disrespect Riddle Dog. Like I said, I think one of the ultimate value players in the league right now. Only 3.2k. I think he has almost every single final blow right now for the side, as now McChicken gets one. But the nano is forced from both squads. It goes on to the Diva, and I think Fires actually got canceled, which is really unfortunate for them, as McChicken will get traded. Or will likely get traded. Nope, never mind. Void Viper gets traded, looking for that kill. The Spike does have the bomb if they get demeched, as the reinforcements are coming back, and they're a lot faster right now for the side of the Swag squad. So will take a little bit longer to set up, but everybody's here and ready.
I think the biggest benefit here, though, as you were saying, since the Swags had to come back, they don't have their Ana and Break set up on high ground anymore. It's going to be very hard to hold this here if you're going to get doubled by somebody like Void Fiber. He doesn't need to have too much space to be able to walk on anymore. With the Tectonic Shock coming up pretty early and Spike getting demeched, having to force the bomb. The Tectonic Shock is not going to be enough to get a pick, as Dong's going to be able to secure their backline here. With the nade coming out here by Silvertals, as Wiggle falls onto 1 HP and does get picked by Void Fiber. Void Fiber getting both supports. As now it's looking more threatening as the blade from Skyster unfortunately doesn't get anything due to the whole hog. Somebody has to get to the Carnage time. It is going to be Void Fiber coming out. The whole hog pushing everybody away, but you don't have supports anymore. As Silvertals does get split a little bit, getting the support from the Zen. Needing to keep pushing as you can just get the hog pick right here. Don't stall too long for the nice little fire. Oh, never mind. We don't see an Ana here by fire. Void Fiber getting another pick here onto McChicken. It's just the Torb in the backline, and Silvertals is going to be caught out. Possibly does use the nade to live. The DM from Spike can be able to keep up. Unfortunately, Silvertals does fall, and then the Juno here is going to fall down next. Riddle Dog coming back as a nice little last touch as Spike gets 2 with a melee, even a third as well, getting nice little dong. As now we're going into second point here, which would have been looking like a devastating first point hold.
Yeah, and Silvertals being the only person with ult on the board is so strong right now for the Blahajs. Again, I think part of the problems with that fight there, as you saw, was Dongwaggler just got caught being alone again, and we kind of talked about that earlier on that map. So they just pounced on the Torbjorn, made it a 5v4, and it was really difficult for the Swag squad to get reset up. As McChicken now on the Diva again, just kind of help deep pull. Maybe deciding, you know, time to swap off the hog on this map, but as we do see both these teams still trying to set up. Fire now on the Juno as well, opting to stick it. Despite that being more of a test pick. Skyster falls low. Dongwaggler alone on card again. If they punish this, it could be so bad. One more time, the nade connects. Dongwaggler so low, has to use that overclock. Spike looking in for the kill. Skyster's 1 HP. Can't really help them. Skyster's going in. Dongwaggler's still alive. 1 HP has everybody scared. On the side of the Blahajs, the nano connects from Silvertals on the Spike just to heal him up. Look for these kills. The excavation comes up from Void Fiber to try to clean up this fight as Big Chicken does get demech. Real Dog will fall as well by Spike. Dongwaggler finds Skyster in the backline, but Void Fiber cleans up McChicken. Fire will fall from Spike as well. It's just Dongwaggler left on this point. And now again, that tempo completely in favor of the Blahajs is now, you know, after a really long first point push, they still have 2.5 minutes now for this final third point.
Yeah, and I think the nail in the coffin on the second point here was, again, the issue I brought up on first point is who is on the objective here, as you were able to see Skyster push it up all the way almost to the end, nearing 10 meters left to capture, and all they had to do is win a single fight, which is what they did, and were able to take that and just be such a threatening as just one fight win after you get 2.5 minutes is just going to lead to another 1.5 minutes of time here. Very impressive for a second point, as now both teams are coming out. Dong is going to use the core fast, but using the bomb, Poco looking for that. Does get the turret, as the DMEC is going to crunch Fancy, put him down to half HP as he now has to get out and look for his life, as McChicken is going to be able to get Biggie stretched though right before that happens, as both teams are going to look to neutral a little bit here.
Yeah, the core dumps come out, but McChicken is finding so much value still on this Diva. They're just catching out the players who are kind of playing by themselves a little bit right now on the Blahajs, trading out first Biggie stretch, then finding Skyster. Now Skyster swapping back on the Genji. A lot of ults coming through. The Juno ult from Fire as well as the bomb from McChicken won't quite connect. The nano from Silvertals on the Spike. Void Fiber falling very low. Biggie Stretch and Wiggle Higgle both using the rally to stay alive. This fight's so messy. Bob comes through from Real Drop trying to confirm a big anti-nade from Silvertals, but instead it's Dongwaggler getting traded there. But Fire gets Void Fiber. Will find Spike. The DMEC though onto McChicken can be massive if they're able to stagger. But no, McChicken will get killed by Silvertals. so they will get their mech back at least. But this can be an up-tempo swing here for the Blahajs.
Yeah, especially with the issue that the Swags used 5 ultimates there, with Dong being fast to another ult. Now, how are you gonna have an answer to the next Nano that's coming up and the next Tectonic Shock by Void Fiber? You really don't have anything, and in the last 30 seconds, you don't have time to build another ultimate. As Spike and Void Fiber are going in, Fancy is gonna get to half. As Riddle Dog is gonna get picked here by by Skycer and Spike, shotting with the nice little nade here by Silvertals. As now Wiggle's gonna fall next, as Skycer's gonna be able to get that pick. As they're gonna trade each other out, and we're gonna cap. Again, who is on the objective? You don't have a traditional flex DPS who's going to be able to, like a Tracer or Genji, who's really self-sufficient, who's going to be able to sit on the point here and contest it. You really don't have anything that you're really just looking to hard brawl and hold the high ground, but that's not really what's going to be able to help on something like defense on Watchpoint Gibraltar, where the objective is just so far away from where the traditional fights are being held.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, it's just, you know, I really like the comps from Swagosaurus, but they just have to be so mindful again of the objective of their positioning, because obviously both teams are in grand finals, right? I think the Blahajs are one of the best dive teams in the league, right? They Silvertals will hit the nade, and then Skycer and Void Fiber and Spike will all immediately be on your backline, right? So I really like that first point. They had that very anti-dive comp. Well, you had to stop the point, right? And then, so then Doglar Waggler would be alone on point, get picked off, and then it's a 5v4, and usually you're not going to win that, right? Unless Riddle Dog kills 5, as we saw, right? So now the tempo switched, right? Now you're on attack. McChicken is over on this Zarya, right? So they're opting to play a very brawl, you know, teleport into the Blahajs here. But again, I think this counter engage from the Blahajs is just gonna be, or even straight engage from the Blahajs is just gonna be so much stronger with the comp they're running.
Oh yeah, as we're looking as the Swagosaurus are running in very fast, with them cleaning up as they are going to be stuck in this room. Both bubbles do get burst here by McChicken, being able to hold that 90 energy very fast, as Void Fiber is going to be able to get in nice. He does get both picks here on the side of the Blahajs, but the cart's not moving.
Yeah,
and with the
sorry, go ahead.
The energy changes as well. You're already seeing McChicken, who just had 90 energy, being down to 20, is not going to be able to take too much of this tempo in the next round.
Yeah, but I don't think you're that upset about it. You know, you did, you know, Spike did swap now onto the Winston, but I do kind of like the far out here. Void Fiber now, ooh, good wall. Void Fiber should get punished by that, but they just kind of knocked on the door and fully surprised the Blahajs there, and we'll get, you know, pretty decent ult charge off of that, right? We have Rush already coming online, Grab is almost online, Blizzard's almost online, and again, now like you said, who's contesting the objective as Void Fiber gets blown up?
Yeah, I mean, but the issue is the cart wasn't moving at all. I completely agree with you. It's just that they made 0 progress after that, and the cart is where it would have normally been even after one fight here. As Silvertals is going to get split on point, looking for the pick onto McChicken here, as Spike is just trying to live, is going to get picked out, but now it's already been a minute and a half, and they still get another fight. After 2 full fight wins on the first point of Gibraltar, the cart just never was able to be moved. As you're going to see Skycer here looking into the backline, trying to be able to find somebody named Riddle Dog. As now Void Fiber is going for the touch, using the dig is going to be very nice. Riddle Dog falling onto half HP and a fight a little bit in the backline. Rush is coming out early here by the side of Fire, but the nade hits 2. The bubble does cleanse it on McChicken. He's builds grabs now, looking to rip it. I can feel it itch, and the use is the Blizz coming out from Dong actually instead is going to be what's going to be holding here, as nobody is going to be able to touch anymore, as you don't have Nano, you don't have Primal, you don't have anything to touch. As now you're walking the second point with 4 minutes and 20 seconds here for the side of the Swagosaurus. But what is Zar going to do here? That's the real question.
Zar's going to hit a fat grab. That's what Zar's going to do here. They'll also maybe kill Void Fiber in the back line. Unless Void Fiber just keep... Oh, Fire! What a pick!
Very nice pick here. Now, as we saw on the side of the Blahajs attack, Cart is going to be 1 fight away from a win, as all you will have is Nano and Tectonic Shock versus the grab, and the early grab is going to be very fast fight win here. As now it's going to be Spike going to the cart, not being able to live. Void Fiber using the ult. The grab does not grab anybody.
Yeah, you
Might
get
grab it
Skycer,
too.
but
It hits Geyser's. Void Viper is going to be looking to contest here, as it's just you lost your Zarya, or no, you still have Zarya, but the Nano coming out here onto Void Vipers, he's going to be able to hold. Dong falling down to 1. It's just going to be McChicken versus a very scary Venture player here, as they're going to be able to clean up. But
yeah, no,
all they invested was, yo, you go, you go.
yeah, no, really good re-engage here from the side of the Blahajs, right? Like you said, it was one fight away. Um, you only use the grab, but right, it looks like they're swapping over to the D.Va anyway, so you're not too upset about that. Obviously, you kind of hope that grab maybe caught more than just Skycer, as Skycer was kind of already dead. But you know, you're able to recontest here. You're facing down a Primal, and that's pretty much it. Silvertall's already falling very, very low, but those Wiggle Higgle needs to be careful. A nice boot! That Spike might not get punished, but yeah, they have the Primal to stay alive, but Wiggle Higgle is just living. Fire is doing so much healing. Wiggle will eventually die, but Spike might get traded out. Void falling very low on the high ground as well. Spike's still trying to find more trades, but the Swag squad just need to regroup a little bit here, but they're definitely in a better position here for this last fight.
Yes, I completely agree with you. There is one issue here, is how does Ashe and May get into the fight? They are not very mobile characters. The Spike's going to be able to drop, as it's now with the nade. Wiggle is not going to be able to get the cleanse here by fire, and they're going to force out the Bob very early, and they can just kite that. They just won a fight and got an ultimate out for the cost of nothing. As now they will only have the Swagosaurus squad will only have 3 ultimates, as Dong is going to be able to get staggered out here, as we're going in 2 minutes left here.
Yeah, and you use your Bob as well. Yeah, and that's where, again, the dive is so strong here from the side of the Blowhigh, right? What a nade by Silvertall, Spike knowing exactly when to go in that engage, separate the rest of that back line. And that's just that little bit of disconnect. That's all you need on this dive comp to punish. As now Spike is scouted out early, they're all trying to collapse on him, but Skycer's coming from behind, has the barrage. McChicken does trade out Spike, Fire gets traded. Real Dog just shoots Skycer immediately out of the sky. The rally is forced, the Blizzard as well, the beat confirmed. As now, Biggie Stretch falls down to half HP, will get traded and McChicken can find Silvertall. It's just Void Viper in this fight, getting punished, has to use the dig, has the dash as well, as the card's still moving. The tectonic shocks are used, it's just McChicken that they're finding on it though. But no, they're looking for Dongmag, they're looking for Riddle Dog. If they get these pigs, it can be massive. The re-engage comes out. Skycer's here. The rush to confirm by fire. They're trying to find these big Riddle Dog. Will get traded. The Spike will get traded out by McChicken. Big Driver. McChicken will die to Void. The other way. The Susan comes out to cleanse out the big Nano. Biggie Stretch falls at half HP. Skycer on the high ground. The Nano comes through to keep them alive. Silvertall's staying alive as well. But Skycer is the one finding the final blows. As 1 minute and counting. As it's just McChicken left on this point. Trying to fight. Trying to find these trades. As they might get staggered here. And that would be so disastrous, as no, they will get killed. They have to use the bomb to try to live, get the recontest with the remake, but Spike's there. They're already chunking in that damage, and now you have nothing for this side of the Swagosaurus squad. They're trying to go on this recontest, but everybody's alive, everybody's back. You're facing another rally and a primal from Spike. McChicken set up on this high ground. They're looking for the kills. They have to use the DM early as the Genjian goes on Dongwaggler. Dongwaggler falls on a half HP. They're trying to get help, but now they have to disengage. Skycer falls on a half HP. Fire using in the teleport, using that Susan, trying to clean up the fight, and they get Silver Souls. That's such a big pick. The main support is now, or the flex support is now out. Biggie Stretch traded as well. This is all the tempo needed for the Swagosaurus squad. They're setting up at the point, but it's traded. Roll Dog and Wiggle Higgle both fall. Skycer and Void Viper on that engage. McChicken does straight out Void Viper, but now the fight's over on point. The DMs come in from McChicken. They're trying to find Spike, but the Primal is there. They're staying alive. It's 3 versus 3 on this card for the. It's in favor right now of the Blowhigh, as they're gonna be back so much faster as McChicken traded out, and it looks like this will be the map. Dongwaggler trying to do hero's work, but they're not able to form this duplicate. The rally comes through, and ladies and gentlemen, the Blowhigh making it a 1-to-1 map series.
Very good long dogfight. Now let me ask one question. Are you okay, man?
I forgot half their names.
A little
halfway
winded.
through, but
You seem a little winded. All good though. As you do see a very scrappy fight here in favor coming out for the Blahajs as just the staggers. But another issue that really caused this happen, especially here where you see Riddle Dog getting the play, is again 5 ultimates were used very, very early, and they weren't able to have anything else when it comes to the end. The ultimate economy was a little shook. And you could just tell it happened is now as all the staggers were able to come back for the side of the Blahas, as they just have a little bit of ults here and there, like the Primal on Spike when he had to go touch, and the Tectonic Shock here from Void Fiber is just going to be able to clean up and just buy the time until you can get your Ana, who gets a nice little nade. As now somebody has to sit on this cart, right? Because the Swagosaurus squad spent the greater bit of 2 minutes trying to push this one fight, but they never really got to be able to stable.
Yeah, well, so far both these teams. Excuse me, as I cough as I catch my breath. Both these teams now winning their map picks. Just showing how strong those map picks may be. And if we go to that 7 map series, obviously I'm favoring the Swagosaurus squad if this continues, as we will be going to Kings Row again, much more brawl favored. And if it's a repeat of map 1, probably Swag squad favored. I kind of like this map pick. What do you think?
I think it is going to be pretty interesting because it's really a linear map here, Kings Row, right? There's not too many side lanes that you're going to be able to take and occupy, which is going to be very like necessary for a tank like Winston, at least on attacking, and with especially the Venture, it's going to be a little bit harder to do the dives. I will probably be seeing. I'm going to assume. I'm going to guesstimate. Maybe we see Ram coming out from Spike or Zarya, just to mirror what I
Mhm.
believe Fancy's going to be playing Ram or Zarya. With still having the Venture is just going to be very strong though, because you're going to be able to get the dive with the slow from the Ram, or you're going to be able to get the bubble onto the Venture, getting able to get the energy very quickly that way. But yeah, I mean that was a very exhilarating map 2 that we saw. Both map picks have been for the side of the Blahajs so far, and this is going to be the first one that we do see coming out from the Swagosaurus squad. And we can just see that they're taking us to Scrims Row, the most popular scrim map to ever see, which with a 22 scrims a week, it's just really gonna we're gonna have to really see how
You
the
know,
Blahajs are gonna be able to take this on.
I'd like to bet. I don't think it's the most popular scrim map anymore. I'm
Really?
gonna make that. I'm gonna make that claim here and now. I think it's probably Suravasa. I think Suravasa is the new most played scrim map because you play a flashpoint every single time you scrim, and people generally like Suravasa more than New Junk City. And I don't think people really, because everyone scrimmed Kings Row in Overwatch 1, and like, eh, eh. Sorry, very on focus, but or very on target. You know what I mean.
All good, all good, all good. I
Hey.
understand it now. Yeah, I mean I could see where Saravasa gets scrimmed more, but I think in a map pool that doesn't have two maps, I think Kings Row is going to be the most favored scrim map. But yeah, as we're still going to be seeing Dong and Ritalin, you might be able to see the Far or the Mei coming out by Dong, depending on whatever tank that Spike is going to play. As we aren't going to have any swaps here coming from the side of the Blahs, it seems like this might be more their main comp, and War comes in on like the first map for either playtime or just whenever they really need a Lucio comp. Or not, yeah, War played Lucio. They've also played Lucio
Correct.
last point. They played on a Brig on his own. But
Correct.
anyways, as we're coming out here, coming in to Kings Row very shortly here, we're seeing the Swagsource squad start on the side of attack. Not their choice. The Blahas chose defense, which is a very popular option here. But I'm just really wondering what tank that we're going to be seeing Spike on and Fancy on, because I think it's just really going to dictate the flow of this map and just see how how either the Far or the Mei from Dong and the Ash from Riddle are just going to really click together.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think McChicken can play any tank they want. I think both the Zarya and the Diva have been working pretty well for them. I think the bigger thing. Oh, hang on. We might have a map change. Oh no, they're
No.
just attacker burst. Okay, nope. So I think the bigger thing is I honestly want to still see Silver Talls on this Ana. I think that those nades have been so massive, and that passive value that Silver Talls has been having has been, as well as the sleep darts. Um, they're obviously still dying quite a bit. You're going against McChicken on Diva, like it's it's gonna happen, right? But they're getting enough value to keep the team alive and to enable these engages from Skycer, from Void Fiber, from Spike, that uh I'd like to still see that. I know Ana usually not the most desired character on King's Row. Obviously you normally want the Juno, Kiriko, or Bap, but I think there's just been so much value coming through here. It also just fully slows down a lot of those engages here from the Swagosaurus squad. But uh, I, I agree with you. I'd like to see what Spike rolls out on. Um, I think they just keep playing dive personally, but
Yeah, I could see it, especially with choosing attack first. You're going to be able to feel out what McChicken and their team is going to be playing here. Which attacker's advantage, you are just going to be able to swap first, but defender's advantage is you just be able to set your tempo, you set your win con. Prada still ours. Now we're going to be able to see Blahajs going on to the attack first, as they have a little bit of something wrong, or at least War just doesn't know what side they're going to be playing. As now we are going to be going in here as both teams are going to be duking it out, trying to get the next lead in the map points. It's now 1-1 currently, with the last point being Watch Point Gibraltar. If you weren't here, you weren't able to see it, folks. After a very nice second point hold, 2-minute hold with Flambo looking like an auctioneer.
Classic.
But yeah, classic auctioneer Flambo. As now we're going to be going into King's Row here, and we're going to be seeing both comps very shortly in 2 seconds here.
Got to shake off the rust a little bit somehow, but yeah, we will see Dongwaggler on that Pharah. You know, that's something they like traditionally more. The Hazard Venture Dive. I'd like Silvertall still being on that Ana. I'm really liking this comp right now from the side of the Blahajs. Again, this is what they've played. This is what they've won. How many games? 8.
Too many.
Like 11-0 or something. Like, this is their meat and potatoes. I think it's going to be really tough here. Riddle Dog is likely going to explode, so I hope they survive, but I'm looking at this, and I'm a little concerned. It's going to be up to Dongwaggler and McChicken to stay alive, put in this pressure, put in this poke, and if anyone can, it's these two guys on these two characters.
Oh yeah, but the Cassidy is going to be able to stop everybody here. Everybody, minus the Ana, you're not going to be able to do that. From their movement cooldowns, which is going to be very important, especially Void Viper when he comes out of the ground. It's like acting like a little bit of a break here for their team. Is now we're seeing Spike set up on the high ground, looking for a nice little drop. His Riddle is going to get split. Fancy is going to be able to get Biggie Stretch, but possibly shortly after, Dong is going to be able to get Silvertalls. Fancy's going to be able to disguise her, as Riddle is just going to be able to get the stable and care from their team. And that's going to be a nice little clean, but you are going to lose your Kiriko. You might be able to come back a little bit fast, but that was a very fast first fight here.
We do see swaps coming through. Skies are moving over onto that Echo again, just to help mark that far a little bit more. But again, a really good wrap from McChicken there, punishing that Juno, kind of going alone in that hotel. As again, this poke from the far is doing so much pressure already here, completely denying that lane that the Blahajs are trying to come through. As Dongwaggler again finding Skystar at the start of this fight.
Oh yeah, Spike getting that block kill on a Riddle, a little more of a slower character, is going to be harder to get back from. As long as you don't stagger too much, which unfortunately Biggie Stretch is going to be picked here. Is now Dong and McChicken are going to be able to get the pick onto Silvertalls. Riddle Dog is going to take about a light year to be able to come back to the objective. But
and Void Fiber is set up to punish that as well. But McChicken does have a grab, so this is Skyster back on the Genji now, swapping immediately off of the Echo after swapping to it. As McChicken again now just holding this lane, has the grab. There's so much pressure. It's Biggie Smalls falls solo. Riddle Dog does get caught up, but they connect on the Ana. Silvertall should get traded in out of this fight, so now 1 for 1 both these teams. As now Juno falling low. Genji is traded as well by McChicken. Dongwaggler killing Biggie Stretch, and yeah, again the Wiggle might be in trouble. No, we'll get out off some good movement, but again, this Winston might die, yes, and that's so disastrous for the side of the Blahajs. Now Void Fiber has to dig, use all their cooldowns to get out, and again, that's kind of the downside there of there was so much downtime in between those fights, and you never want that if you're playing this aggressive dive. Now Dongwaggler, 4 ults on the side of the Swagosaurus squad.
Oh yeah, they are looking to have a nice little hold here. As a minute 30 left on the clock with Void Piper already in for the dive here. Big Chicken is going to be able to get Silvertalls with the assist of all 4 other players, as both the Tectonic Shock and the Beat are coming out here from respectively from both sides. As Big Chicken is going to be able to get Void Fiber. As we're really seeing the hard Zarya carry potential here. As he's just able to stable anybody on their team from the dive. As now we're coming into a minute left, and we're going to have to see some answers coming up from the Blahajs.
And you know, I said I wanted to see the Ana, and you know, and I think that's what the Swagosaurus wanted to see as well, is they're just running over Silvertalls every single game. They know that Silvertalls has been doing so much on this Ana, and they're just making sure that they aren't able to do anything in this contest. Void Fiber immediately taken out. There's no Spike falls low on point as well. Real Dog collecting that kill. Skystar has to use a deflect, but against Zarya, you can't deflect those beams. Biggie Stretch and Silvertall's now the last 2 alive, and again traded out. And this Blahajs team is just looking like that first map all over again, completely different from what we just saw from them on Gibraltar.
Oh yeah, the biggest thing here though you're gonna have to care though is the 4 ultimates coming online from the Blahajs versus just the 2 here If they can play or 2 from the Swags, if they can play very fast with the Nano Monkey, try to prevent that, the building, which could be looking for it right now, as the barrage comes out very early, but the bubble, the Nano onto Void Fiber is going to be able to threat, as Silvertals is going to be able to get Dong Waggler here. As now the Primal looking for McChicken, trying to get the pick, does get the Graviton Surge out, but does get traded out. Riddle using the High Noon, trying to get a nice little pick in there to grab, not able to do anything though. As now we are going to be going to the second point here. And as you can tell, just the ultimate disadvantage here. They are playing defense, but that doesn't mean they can always be playing first here. They need to have answers for stuff, and they did not, as the Blahajs knew exactly what they had and were able to counter that.
Yeah, and again, maybe, like you said, you can't always go first. Maybe a little bit too quick from Dog Waggler there, trying to be a little bit too greedy, trying to find Void Fiber, and that Nano just came through, kept Void Fiber alive. You know, maybe could have held that, waited for that bubble to drop, killed Spike or someone else on that engage. Now the re-engage comes through, Skyster is traded out, Fire using that rush, and now Spike will get traded as well. It's just the Venture now alive in this backline, trying to pressure out Dong Waggler. As you know, Dong Waggler is still just shooting down from the sky boxes. Void Fiber 1 HP, can they get it? No, Fire will get that kill.
Oh yeah, all you're going to be able to see coming up here is going to be the beat versus the Tectonic Shock, Blade, and Orbital here from the Barrier Reef Blahajs, as they're going to be able to go very first tempo here. I want to see an Orbit first, just be able to run over McChicken, do not let him live. As now the huge nade hits everybody in the back. Unfortunately, everybody is going to be able to kite a little bit too early of an Orbit here. They were planning, Swagosaurus were planning to know when they're going to use the Orbit and be able to kite that. As now it's going to be their turn with McChicken being at 100 energy. Who's going to be able to stop this menace? It's going to be Skyster looking for the Blade. First bubble comes out. Skyster getting picked here, but the nade was very huge by Silvertals, and then he's going to be able to use the Blade, get 1, get 2, looking for 3, but no, Void Fiber is going to get that. Burning both DPS ults and your Juno ult just for the cost of nothing here. They're really playing 3 on cart, trying to capture this. Do not let the Swagosaurus touch before you're able to capture. But there is still hope here. Somebody has to get to the cart, and they have to use beat to fight, as there's going to be no answer here from the Blahajs. We're going to have to see the setup here. Looking very fast hit here. Spike already in. Void Fiber not in yet enough to follow up. The Nano from Void Fiber, they're putting everything as the beat coming out here from Wiggle Hill. As Fancy's going to get 1, then Dong is going to get another. Silver falls down next, as Void is going to be able to use the Nano to be able to get Dong, and Skyster is going to clean up both DPS line. 20 seconds left here. Skyster is 1 HP, Void is 1 HP, looking for staggers, as Void is going to stagger themselves.
Yeah.
As now 15 seconds are left.
Yeah, now it's going to be on Skyster to touch this card. You might have Spike back, but Void Fiber will definitely not be at this fight. And now again, we're in this position. You're facing down 4 ults. You have nothing in response. This should be a hold here for the side of the Swag squad, as the rush will come through. Skyster actually finds Dong Waggler. That won't be a barrage. And so the grab! Great to see from McChicken, as Real Dog doesn't get big stretch. There's no supports in this fight. But Spike coming back won't have that primal. It'll still be a fight win, but that is probably the Swiffer Wet Jet whiff of the World Series.
Swiffer, the Swiffer of the, you know, just the grand finals, you know, the BOON1E Bowl. You know, BOON1E, if he was here, he'd be singing just with you, man. As we're gonna see a massive grab here, hitting a whole whopping 7 ghosts. But hey, I mean, I guess you don't really need it after all. As now we are gonna be able to see the win count is set, and how are the Blahajs gonna be able to defend it?
Yeah, and again, with, you know, with how the Blahajs, how they like to play, you know, it is kind of defense favored a little bit. You know, they're going to be able to separate and pick apart, right, as we saw in Gibraltar. So you're honestly pretty happy with that push from them. I don't think there's really a world where they would have capped that point regardless. You know, again, the Swag squad may be helping it a little bit by just kind of not having a barrage or a grav in that fight. But, you know, you were held for so long on first, you still got it almost the end of second, right? And with what you want to play, which actually, they're just playing the Zarya. So I was fully expecting them to still kind of play that dive, but I guess Spike, again, just throwing down the gauntlet, saying, I'm going to be better than McChicken. I'm going to grab our Genji and our Venture engages, and we're going to live through these exhausting long fights, right? So it really is going to be all about positioning, posture, and tempo here. as we move into this attack.
Oh yeah, we are going to be looking at Riddle Dog for a nice little Widow pick early on. There's not going to find anything, going to swap over. As now both teams are fighting, as they're able to hit the rotate here. As far as not going to be in, McChicken's already at full energies, but so is Spike as well. As now, you're going to be able to see the Swagosaurus squad as they're going to be set up on top here. Looking for a nice little pick. And Skycer does go in first with Void Fiber. Looking for a pick. No more bubbles here for the side of McChicken, and Spike's going to be able to get donked. Very nice pick here. If they time this right, they could slowly get staggers out. As Riddle is going to fall down to half HP already. They just have to go swing them from both angles, as we're going to be seeing both teams setting up here.
Yeah, really good positioning, but the Pharah is back, is going to be pumping in this damage. Skycer gets a little bit greedy, does trade out, and the trades are going in favor of Spike, falling very low in favor of the Swagosaurus squad. Riddle Dog finds 2. McChicken falls so low, so is Spike. Both these tanks here, 1 HP as the passive regen will start passing through. Spike still has those bubbles though. If they find Spike on this kill, getting rid of this energy, that's going to be so big for the side of the Swagosaurus squad, but I don't think anyone's gonna be able to touch. Yeah, Genji just short of being able to flip that point. And again, just really good awareness from both of these teams on again making those rotations. Maybe just needed to be a little bit faster before Dong Waggler came back for the side of the Blahajs to try to get that pinch and find those picks. As now Dong Waggler found first again here. McChicken falling as well. That's so bad for the side of the Swagosaurus squad, as they'll likely get staggered out here in a full collapse from the side of the Blahajs.
Oh yeah, I'm expecting to completely see a first point hold here. You're just looking to hold down spawn, right? Take your angles. We are going to be seeing that Void Fiber and Silvertals, and everybody's going to be sitting on these angles, looking to get a nice little crash here, as they're going to be seeing them going very fast here. The bubble engage. As far as not going to be able to follow, and Wiggle Higgle does fall down below, does get into spawn though. As Spike is going to be able to hold this energy advantage, but McChicken is standing right behind. Wiggle is going to be able to get the Void Fiber on the little flank here.
But the grab is massive.
With the 5-man grab.
They do get fire at the start of it.
The
Blade
coming
comes
out
through.
with Blade. Getting the nice little pick. All good, all good. Getting Riddle, getting Wiggle and Riddle. Getting nice little picks here, as now both teams are going to stable out. 4 minutes on the clock here with the Swagosaurus in favor, as they still have more ultimates, or even ultimates now. No more.
Yeah, and again, like you said, they're definitely favored now, as they're gonna be able to walk forward. Spike gets caught out here, no longer has a grab. That's 1 bubble, that's 2 bubbles, as the barrage will come through. The beat and the rush both trying to save Spike, but Spike will still get traded. The grab comes out as well, connecting on Skycer and Void Fiber. Actually, the big deflect actually causes McChicken to fall. Void Fiber does trade, but Silvertals will fall. Skycer falling very low, has that deflect to try to stay alive, but dashes in to try to collect a kill. But again, finding McChicken, resetting that energy is pretty good here for the side of the Blahajs. But again, you're facing down a rush with your tectonic surge or whatever it's called. Venture's not a real character, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it is Tectonic Shock. Yep, you were very close, don't worry. As now we're going to be seeing possibly last fight here, as both teams are going to be holding on to their spots. We're seeing the Genji and the Venture being able to set up on this little bit of a right off angle, but you do have the Kitsune ult and the High Noon versus just the Tectonic Shock. As you're looking to go fast, Wiggle does fall down to half HP. Looking for a pick, Void's going in deeper. McChicken is split though, if people can look for a pick. Riddle pops, his ult does get blocked here. As Void Fiber able to get 1, get 2, Skycer getting a 3rd. As Fancy's gonna fall down next, the Spike. Is now they're gonna be able to clean up and look to spawn hold a little bit more.
Yeah, you have to hold really aggressive right now if you're the side of the Blahajs, right? You need to end these fights before they even happen, or before they even start. And again, this engage with Void Fiber with those bubbles have been so strong, right? They're so in tune with Spike as they're trying to go in and get these picks. As now, again, they're trying to find these backline picks as they are scouted out. This is probably the worst case scenario for the Blahajs here, as they have to make these rotations. McChicken up there to meet them. The charge is just so massive for both these teams. As now, again, Void Fiber going so aggressive, they just find Riddle Dog at the start of this, but Silvertals falls very low, gets traded out by Dong Waggler. Skycer falls, that's no play in this fight. It's an even fight, just no DPS for this side of the Swagosaurus squad. As now McChicken will fall though, and the Kiriko stagger. They find Void Fiber, but Void Fiber will be back faster. And now I'm looking at this graph from Spike and this rush from Biggie Stretch, and I'm getting worried for the side of the Swagosaurus squad.
I think the bigger thing you got to care here is Dong Waggler here with the barrage. Obviously, the Blahajs need to know that this is something very, very scary, and it will just be an insta fight when if they're able to find it onto Spike without being able to burn. The question is, who is going to be scouting this far? As they know where the far is, they're using Skyster to use the Blade, looking for Wiggle very early on with Void Fiber in already. Blade is going to find nothing Burger here, getting some ghosts with a couple slashes here. But I mean, hey, you still have 4 more ults in the tank here versus just the 4 coming on. You have to be very resilient here. Dong's looking for this barrage, and it's going to be fat. But no, it's going to be able to get big. The Spike is just going to be able to stable, hopefully going down to 1 HP, getting the pick onto McChicken. And that's going to be a 1 for 2 ult trade here. I'm looking to see we need to see the Blahajs play very, very close here. Very, very aggro. First tempo ultimate. Do not let this grab or come online here. As that's exactly what we're going to be seeing.
Ooh, they catch out Fire. Fire has to use that TP early. Spike is found close. 25 seconds left. The rush comes through. The big beat, but the grab is there. Everyone stays alive. They're not able to push into it. Skyster falls very low. Nice taunt blast. Spike will fall as well. But again, the card is close, but 10 seconds left. Even if they win this fight, I don't think they're going to be able to get to the point. They trade out Biggie Stretch and Silver Calls. Those fast deaths are exactly what we're needed. I think they're going to be able to touch. I don't think they're going to be able to get there in time. Riddle has to push aggressive and has to use this ult. They just have to find Skyster or Spike as they're trying to touch.
Oh yeah, card has regressed forever. Literally 200 meters. I might even be thinking for like a Winston swap here. They have to go very fast with Void Fiber. Who's touching? Riddle Dog uses Bubble. Riddle Dog using his ultimate is looking for a nice high noon. It's going to be fat. Hits nothing. McChicken is going to be able to get Void Fiber, the only ultimate here in favor. As now McChicken is going to fall down the half. Spike down to 1 HP. Looking for the pick. Riddle Dog is going to get Skyster. Spike is going to be able to get Wiggles now. It's going to clean up. And now, again, folks, very, very close series. Let me tell you this, as now the Swagosaurus is going to be able to take the lead here in maps, as now we're seeing a 2-1 lead.
Yeah, and again, just, oh, what, excuse me, what a close map. That you really couldn't ask for anything closer here between these two teams. Both these teams just looking like defense savants right now, as with their engages right into the back line. But again, just that ult favoring for the side of the Swagosaurus squad. You had the beat, you had the high noon just to stabilize play around that cart. And they do finally get that payload through. But yeah, we do see the benefits of having those map picks, as you know, it will now be for the side of the Blahajs, as I believe we have like a halftime 5-minute break or so, which thank goodness. But anything you want to say before we head to a quick break here, Wind?
Just because the Swagosaurus squad is up 2-1 does not mean that the series is over yet, folks. As you can see, that literally came down to just a nail-biter fight. And I was hoping to see Blahajs come out on some swaps and just be able to fight on different heroes instead of relying on Zarya being able to build all that energy that's necessary. But I mean, hey, it's going to be very close. And we are going to go to a short little intermission here, as some people have some bio issues that they need to go deal before we go into the next one. So, hey, stay tuned, though.
Cool.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Aurora Overwatch Clash Season 7 with the grand finals here with the Swagosaurus squad versus the Barrier Reef Blahajs, with the Swags taking out a very close Kings Row that came out to overtime in second point. Now up the lead of 2-1, as now we are going into the Blahajs pick here of Coliseo. And what are your thoughts going into this, Flambo?
Yeah, well, Coliseo is a very interesting map because you could play realistically whatever you want. But I guess maybe the ball if you're the Swagosaurus squad, though I'm expecting that to swap over. But you know, the Blowhigh did pick this map, and you know you have the options between push and flashpoint, right? Both of which are probably gonna end up playing very similar things, as we do see them just coming out running the same comp. They are convinced that that this comp is going to work. They will win on it. As again, it's what they've been playing all season. But you're down a map, so they really need to lock in, keep playing well as this team, and really need to find a way to shut down these Zarya bubbles from Fancy.
Oh yeah, especially now, as you're going to be seeing the more poke-heavy side here from the Swagosaurus squad. But all we've seen so far is Kiri Lucio. Keep that in mind. Both teams playing very fast here. And I think that's going to go into the favor of the Blahajs very slowly but surely if they're both at
The chicken
almost
does fall
identical
very...
comp. As Panther falls onto one, is used, gets pushed into the middle of the open here by Void Fiber. Still 1 HP, looking to get a pick here as everybody is peeling for this man. As now we're going to be able to see the Blahajs be able to take an early lead advantage here in the point of progression.
Skyster very aggressive dive. We'll have to use that deflect to live. And again, that's kind of both the benefit and the downside of the Pharah here, right? Like, you have really good focus. The rush is going to explode. Fancy coming out first from Silvertals. Skyster does get traded out, but Real Dog will fall as well. And again, that extra poke from the Pharah on top of everyone just helped Silvertals get that ult just slightly faster without really being able to get picks for this side of the Swagosaurus squad. So McChicken will have a grab coming up in this fight, but War again also already has a beat with Wiggle Higgle at 60%. So both teams now posturing. We'll fight around this ult. The ult's in response from Fire, setting up that rush. They're trying to find Spike. The War uses the beat with Spike already dead. That's kind of disastrous here as Void Fiber trying to trade out, find Dogwaggler in the backline. But again, the Swagosaurus squad really able to just pull a beat and a pick and now bot control for nothing.
Oh yeah, entirely as well. Silvertall's already 40% to the next. Oh, about a lap. Void Fiber, who's just at 53%. Not able to do too much, which is probably why Wiggle Higgle is a little bit lower on the ult advantage here. But now we do see the early grab coming out. Nice little fat 3. You do see Suzu, you do see Bubbles, but that's not enough here for the poke of Cast, Flashbang, and Dong, Fire, Barrage, and just shooting shots. Just too much here. Now we're going to be able to see the Swagosaurus squad using another ult to be able to take a nice little lead here.
Yeah, now you have the beat for the blade, but they'll have either grab or the blade. You can't beat both, right? So you need to find a pick with this barrage here. If you're the side of the Swagosaurus squad, you are still technically behind in the push race. But if Dong can catch out Spike here, get that early pick. Silvertall is again very close to another rush already, so they need to be faster here. As they find War, that's a big pick that was needed. Both supports now out of the fight for the side of the Blowhigh. Spike gets traded as well. You just use that barrage, right? And you're now able to keep pushing this cart. You should get that spawn touch here, unless Skyster dies for it, which they might actually do.
No, both teams are going to be able to stabilize. Now we're going to be able to see Swagosaurus about to take the lead in favor of the map, unless Spike's able to drop, as we are going to be contesting the fat little grab here using the beat. Now we can see Blade being pulled, Blade being pulled, Blade being pulled, and both.
Oh, and Venture. And Rush. And Blade. And you want those back.
What did I just saw a lot of colors, Flambo. A lot of colors, and they were not from the blue side. Not from the blue side. As now we're seeing the very hurt ultimate economy here from the Blahajs, not going to be able to do anything to be able to solidify their lead anymore. But if that does not matter, as Void Fiber's able to get the pick onto Dong very early on, the high noon from Riddle is going to be canceled out. Here's Void is just going to be able to run the backline a little bit. Wiggle falling down to half. Spike is one though. He is not carrying. what? McChicken in a Kitsune rush. The Spike's going to be
Oh
barely
my
barreled out
goodness.
by War and Silver. As Skycer's going to be able to nice little dash kill here. As Skycer's just being a threat. Skycer and Void just getting all of the aggro here from the Swagosaurus squad, being able to keep Spike up as only Fancy's going to be able to try to burn down, with now Spike being able to catch up in the ultimate progress by about 20% from that fight alone. But now you're just seeing the scariness of the grab again from McChicken as you don't have an answers. The beat is coming up a little bit late here.
Yeah, both teams now posturing here. They do get the prio spawn, so you're happy just to leave and fight another day for the side of the Blahajs. Riddle Dog does find Void Fiber here, causing a little bit of late spawn, but again, you have the Lucio to speed you back, you have the priority spawn. But again, we saw them use 4 ults, and half of them are already back here. WYND, so, you know, McChicken is the only person here has that grab, but War will have a beat for it, and then Spike will be able to re-engage with the ult of their own. Again, kind of a disastrous misplay and long fight for the Swagosaurus squad before this. Now Dongwaggler falls very low. The barrage comes out, does find Spike in the grab in response. Void Fiber gets the trade out, and but another big grab. War has the beat to stay alive, but there's no damage. They don't have the Pharah anymore. Everyone stays nice and healthy. Again, McChicken trying to do the best they can to keep everyone alive, get these trades, but Void Fiber will just live, get those megas. Skycer does fall, but Wiggle Higgle is traded. War will fall as well off of McChicken, but Void Fiber has no cooldown, trying to stay alive on this point, but now Dongwaggler is back, finally providing some of that damage. But again, that's just kind of the downside of running this Cassidy and Pharah is, you know, they're so susceptible, or the Cassidy's so susceptible to dive early, and if the Pharah dies, you don't really have any damage. As the rush comes out from Silvertall, this fight's gonna be really early and aggressive. As Wiggle falls solo, if Wiggle dies, this is so bad. Wiggle needs to live and have the beat here to sustain through this blade that's going to be coming out any second here from Skycer, and allow the push to keep coming. The rush comes through, the excavation from Void Fiber just to try to find these big fight. Fire falling down to half HP. They're trying to find more, they're trying to find Wiggle, they're trying to find anything, but no, they just have to leave. Skycer now has the blade. Wiggle Higgle has the beat to sustain through it. They're looking for it. They're looking so aggressive, but good marks from McChicken. Just, again, trying to punish out Skycer before this blade comes through. Riddle Dog using the ult. Again, walking forward, has the speed. A nice conk mine from the Pharah, but it will get hold. Won't find anything. Spike falls down to half HP. The
Ajax!
The Ajax comes through. Real Dog finds 1, Skycer finds 2, Skycer finds 3. Dongwaggler will die on cart from their own rockets. It's just McChicken versus 2 here, as McChicken also dying to the right click. And oh my goodness, that is so disastrous for the Swagosaurus squad.
Oh yeah, especially. You know, we never made Preds either, but seeing 1 so far, I mean, it's not too bad for seeing Kiryu the whole time. Again, you would not 0. But now the ultimates are still in favor for the Swag series. They are still holding on to this grab. They built it 30% faster than Spike did, as now you don't have the beat again to use, as it looks like Fancy's going for a quick one here. Does get forward. The deflect and the bubbles here coming out does stable your whole team, as the shots into the deflect are able to get the pick on to Riddle Dog, as now you just turn an ultimate into your threateningness, as you're going to be able to get quick spawn again here, as Fancy's going to fall down very shortly and does get out with the energy as well.
Yeah, and again, the recontest now is going to be coming through for the Blahajs, but you're once again now somehow the ult bank has been fixed for the side of the Blahajs. The rush comes out from Fire again to try to make something happen here, but the big grab from Spike will make something out of nothing here, as Dongwaggler falling very low. McChicken still on the cart. Very expensive fight for both these teams, but definitely still in favor of the Blahajs. You still have this beat. You're going to be close to the Venture ult, and you have to push so far, as well as still get that butt scratch in only a minute and a half.
Oh yeah, completely agree with you, especially now. If the Blahajs are able to play this very smart with their ultimates for the rest of the series, they will go to a 2-2 tie in what's going to be a 4-hour game, as now both teams are going to be fighting out with just the beat from War is going to be online until like 20% here gained by Void Fiber, and we're going to have to see if they go for a fast beat or if they just play for this neutral, which is probably going to be the better option here.
Yeah, both these teams are postured up. Again, we have the beat in favor for War. Void Fiber coming dangerously close to their ult. Riddle Dog 90% on this Cassie, but McChicken finds War. That's such a big pick. That means there's going to be no beat in this fight. McChicken keeps going, uses the grab as well, knows there isn't a beat to sustain through it. A spike will fall, Void Fiber falling very low, and you need to get the butt scratch here. 30 seconds and counting. Like, you need to play perfect Overwatch if you're the side of the Swagosaurus squad. And if you're able to catch out Silvertalls early, that's big here from Dong Waggler.
Oh yeah, coming into here, you do see the ultimates in favor still for the Blaha, as they're just going to be able to be threatening. But hey,
Ooh.
what's more threatening than being up a person in a fight here, as now it's coming into possibly last fight territory to dictate who wins the map, with 3 more ultimates almost coming online here in favor of the Swagosaurus squad. You have to go very fast with your ults now, walk onto the Riddle Dog, be able to burn him, but he's going to be able to get the pick on the warp. But all the other ultimates are going to be in line here, going to be able to get the Pagano Wiggles. Now Dong is going to be last and does get bladed out, as now, folks, we are in a 2-2 series, which it's been going back and forth the entire time. Very interesting series going on, I will say, as both teams have dived into Diva mirrors, into Zara mirrors now. Now I'm just wondering, is there any other here that they're going to be able to see a mirror of that's going to be coming out very shortly?
Yeah, you know, I was maybe teasing the Blahajs a little bit at the start of the map, saying, you know, that's what they've been playing and they're on a map. Well, they just won the map on it, right? So I think the big thing for on Colosseo at least was, you know, the Cassie has been so good to deny pressure from like the Genji and you know, try to hold back the Venture a little bit. But you know, when they have these blades from Spike, the Cassie just feels kind of slow in this comp, right? With how much McChicken is doing in this front line, I'd kind of like to see a little bit of a faster comp come out from the Swagosaurus squad. But that said, it is their match pick. It will have to be a flashpoint. So, do you think we're going to Suravasa, or do you think we're going to New Junk City?
Is that really a question? I think it's 99.9. It's like the 1 in 14 million we go to New Junk City, and it does not hit. Now, both
That's
teams are 2-2. I think the benefit of swiping on Zarya here is going to be able to actually stop those flashbangs from the Cassidy with the bubble as either Spike or Skycer or Void Viber, just whoever wants to get active. I think there's 2 options here that the Swags have if they really want to go for a lead. Is either they need to swap up the DPS line, which is what I do not recommend at all, or they need to play a more stable back line, I think, to be able to help care for that Cassidy that Riddle Dog is being on, as just mirroring Lucio Kiri. Again, it is going to be very strong in the current meta as such, but your cast is just going to be a prime target, and all you have to care is Suzu and maybe a bubble here or there, but even just one bubble will just be able to threaten McChicken's survivability by a ton.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see Rue back in the lineup. You know, now you're on these flat maps again. You're able to play the Venture, and again, we saw in that first map, Rue was doing a lot of work on the Venture themselves. Again, almost being able to peel for the backline as well, which have been just kind of getting walked over by Spike and Void Fiber, right? So, personally, I'd like to see these adjustments come through from the Swag squad. Obviously, they they know what they want to do here on Suravasa. They've scrimmed every other day for the last 3 weeks. So obviously both these teams have plans, know what they want to do. But it's so close right now that I think you need to just grab the things that worked for you in the past in the series and just really dig into that. You know, I think with how close Kings Row was and how close Colosseo was, um, neither team. I think by staying on these comps, you're essentially just kind of coin flipping through the series, you know, and it's really just coming down to we think we are going to play better right now, and I think be greedy, be evil, play things that you've found great success on already in the series, and do that.
Yeah, I mean, I can completely agree with you. I think right now, what wins or loses these fights, especially from both teams, is the ult economy macro. Because as you saw, even with the Blahajs being down 4-0, or the using 4 ultimates for just 1 ultimate here from the Swagosaurus squad, the biggest difference here is they were able to make up for that by playing fast. I think the teams need to play more macro based off of who has more ultimates, who has more resources, and just be able to pressure out the team that has less, and just be able to win slowly but surely. But I mean, hey, the tempo that we're seeing here from the Blahajs is just going to be very, very important into getting more ultimates, more cycles, more everything, especially when you have somebody who can cycle bubbles on to get energy, which Fancy just doesn't have, and just the lack. You're just playing a slower comp. You might want to play with a slower backline, but I mean, as we see here, we might be seeing the same thing that we just did on Kalo, and maybe who knows, it might run the same way.
Well, they did listen to me. The Swag Squad have someone listening in our cast here, and we do see Rue and Para coming in here, similar to their map 1 appearance. So we do see it starting on the Symmetra actually for Rue Lupinos. We'll see if they continue on that or if they go onto that venture, but it could just be a teleport out and swap. But they also really like playing the Reaper, so I'm a little bit curious to see what they end up deciding, as it will be the venture. Riddle Dog stays on that Cassidy again, just trying to find value on these flashbangs as early point control in favor, or placement positioning in favor of the Swagosaurus squad.
Oh yeah, the only difference in the comp here is you're seeing a Genji instead of a Cassidy. Which the Cass in theory is going to be able to dives, but depending on the bubbles here by Spike is just going to be very threatening. As we're looking for the first bubble cycle here, as Skycer's able to go in. With both bubbles forced out from McChicken, we are going to see a huge resource advantage here in favor for the side of the Blahajs. They're going to be able to get the first cap, as Fancy just doesn't know who's going to be killed. As now Fancy still has 0 bubbles. Riddle does get the nice pick onto Skycer, then War's already at 1 HP, gonna need a stable here. But Spike is gonna be able to have this energy advantage. Suzu's already out, Bubbles out, they don't have anything. But Para and Fancy are gonna be able to clean up. But I mean, hey, to be able to get 30% though, straight out of the bat, even a little more than that, is gonna be very empowering here. We're already seeing Riddle at 81% and Para at 87 for their ults.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna point out. You know, you took that fight a little bit slow. Sure, you give out 36%, but you win the fight. And ultimately, in Flashpoint, winning the fight is what's going to be way better for your team, no matter the outcome, right? So being set up, McChicken now has well, probably not as much anymore, but you're able to position. You won the fight. You have these ult charge, and now Para's just gonna throw out this rush before this fight even starts, and they're just gonna blow up this front line with McChicken walking forward. The Suzu is forced out from Para though, as McChicken falls to about half HP, but a great disengage from the Blahajs. You know, they recognize, hey, we can't walk into this, but McChicken building up on this grab, Void Fiber falling to about half HP. Bulldog will have an ult of their own as well. So when Silvertall's now rushes, they should just pop this high noon and stay alive. Surely. It does come through the Suzu as well. The deflect from Skyster. The beat as well by Wiggle Hill to get everyone alive, but it doesn't connect on Real Dog. The point does flip. The better beat comes out from War as they push forward. They find McChicken. And yeah, so again, really well played from the side of the Blahajs. They knew when they had to re-engage there. They kited out the rush. They re-engaged hard. They knew that Riddle had the ult. They knew that Wiggle had the beat. Forced all of it, had the better beat. Skyster might get traded if he's not careful.
As you can see, they are going for the Stagger Hound Para, which is paramount in the Lucio Kiri comp here. As now, how are they going to be able to fight without their Kiriko player? They have to wait for somebody to get the TP on, which they're not doing. They have to go very fast here. Wiggle is sacrificing the time to be able to go. But with the grab here by Spike, they could just prevent and force the C9, but actually they don't even need it at all. With the ults being in favor of the Blahajs, as you did see 3 ults already being used here from this Swagosaurus squad as we're going into the next flashpoint.
Yeah, and again, I just think, you know, the blade comes through so quick. It does get grabbed. Oh my gosh, they're all on top of each other. Really well done by Spike. You know, the grab, the defensive grab to stop the blade, right? You didn't have a beat, you didn't have anything to survive, but if you just grab everyone next to the swinging Genji, it doesn't even matter. So, again, a great fight win here for the side of the Blowhigh. You'll have the tectonic plates here as Rua actually swaps over onto the Mei. But again, I'd like to see maybe not Cassidy, to be honest. I think Riddle has found great picks as he gets another one, just proving me wrong. But it just feels really slow. It's forcing a lot of these defensive bubbles from McChicken, not allowing them to really be the aggressor here and find these picks. As again, now I'm just proved wrong while casting. So thanks, guys.
You know it's their pleasure as well. I think the biggest thing to look for here, actually, I think is a backline swap to maybe even like a Juno Brig if you're playing with this more slower version, just to be able to have the rally for the blade or the tectonic shot, as I believe it's going to absorb 3 or 4 of the tectonic shocks into the ground, and then just having Orbit is still a strong ult. But I mean, hey, I might be wrong here. Both teams are sticking onto this. Ults are going to be a little bit in favor here, as never mind, we're seeing tectonic shock being used first, meeting with using the Kitsune. But I mean, Void Fiber is still going to find Wiggle Higgle very early on. Not going to be able to get too much more ult charge for that beat here, as Void is going to be safe. The Mei wall coming out, Void falling low, but is just going to be able to live here by their team's care, as Fancy's going to leave with no bubbles, with Spike being able to burn down, just whittle down absolutely nothing. The team recognizes that, uses Kitsune. The deflect High Noon! Woo! What a deflect here by the Skycer personality, as now point is still not flipped. It's still in favor
Still
of the
3v3.
Swags.
It's just
Oh, yeah.
supports and tanks. Grab comes through the connect. They force the beat out. They're able to get these trades that's big. No, instead they just pull the blade out from McChicken and punish that so aggressively.
And what a bubble, as you're able to keep Silvertals up until the beat is able to hit the air, I guess, because you're sitting in grab. The bubble was just perfect, being able to keep Silvertals still alive and being able to be the turning tide. But now the scariest ultimate for this Blahajs is coming online right now, the Blizzard, and we're gonna have to see how they're gonna respond to this with a fast grab.
The Blizzard response to Void Fiber just finds 4 with everyone stuck in that grab. I kind of really dislike using the Blizzard there, to be honest.
I think it might have been mandatory. Even I could have seen is putting wall underneath. You'd be able to push yourselves out of it if you're standing on top of it. Would have still been maybe a little bit better, and then using Blizz. But unfortunately, we are now going to see match point here in favor of the Blahajs, and this is going to be, both teams are still tied 2-2 in maps in total, and this is going to be the decider going on who's going to be able to have the match point advantage and the pressure here after a grueling 8-week season plus playoffs.
Yeah, and again, like we said before, you know, realistically, point control doesn't matter. You just want to win the fight. Well, now point control does matter if you're the Swagosaurus squad. They really have to make sure that no, you know, as Void Fiber does fall early, Spike falls down to half HP again. A nice rush from Para to open up this fight. Silvertals has one of their own. They can recontest here. 3 seconds left. They do send it out as the aggression does come through. Spike goes in. Skycer very aggressively with the blade. That Suzu was a little early, but the beat to confirm. You kind of maybe want that one back if you're Wiggle Higgle, as I did just burn out Skycer immediately. But again, you're okay using your beat, as you did get, you know, 2 ults out for 2 ults, right? So not the end of the world, as very aggressive positioning here now from the side of the Swagosaurus squad, as McChicken trying to take full advantage of their high energy right now. Get these trades out now before it starts to trickle down.
Oh yeah, and you can see the ebb and flow here being used by both teams, where they just kite the Kitsune, then they go in with their ult, and then they just kite the next ult, and they go in with theirs, and it's just the classic Overwatch ebb and flow. What you really want to be seeing here out of these ult fights is now you're running into the grab here without your beat this time. Fancy's been doing a great job building this very fast every single time. They're just gonna have to go in quickly with the bubble onto Void Fiber, possibly no, and then Fancy's already down 1 bubble, looking to play fast. They know they have the grab, looking for the pick here. No bubbles left here for Spike, as they're just gonna fall down. Now they have to look to trade very quickly here for the Blahajs. They do not want to get hard staggered, and they're not going to be able to get another fight out of this, as it's just going to be war alive with the beat that was going to be necessary for that grab.
But yeah, but you're okay with this, right? You still need to cap 2 more points if you're the side of the Swagosaurus squad. You essentially force out that, you know, point-winning ultimate from McChicken. You didn't have to use anything. Now you're coming into this next point, you know, saved your ult. Spike is going to be close to their own, you know, essentially point-winning ultimate, as well as you'll have beat still for sustain. You'll have tectonic shock if you need it as well, if you want to play aggressive. You're ultimately still in such a better position for this Swagosaurus squad, as Skycer's already set up, and Rue gets punished. You know, Para trying to go aggressive with this rush, but the poke was just too much, as Void Fiber gets that pick. Wiggle Higgle will trade out Skycer, but Para will fall. And now it's just Wiggle on the heels here, as the, again, dominant hold here from the Blahajs, and you win the point for free. You even pulled out the rush from Para.
Oh yeah, I mean, the biggest thing you're able to see here is just, yeah, the ultimate advantage, and you know they don't have the beat yet, but the Blizz is going to be detrimental. But Spike does have that 1 bubble for that, as Silvertals and Spike are going to be able to clean up both Rue and Wiggle. As now the pressure's coming on. Next point is going to be about 60%, but they're looking to go even further than that. As Spike's able to get Para another huge substantial staggers. Riddle's going to fall down next, going to be able to get that wave spawn with Para. As now the next fight that the Swags are going to have is going to be quite possibly final fight here. And all they have coming out is the beat and High Noon. High Noon is not going to do too much, but the beat and the grab very close. But we're going to have to see how fast here the Blahajs are able to play to really cinch out this map.
Yeah, early bubbles for both these teams. A nice excavation in the backline from Void Fiber, but gets completely shut down. But now the play in response, there's no bubbles left. The beat has to be used. The deflect comes through as well as the High Noon from Riddle Dog, just trying to keep everyone alive. The point is ticking down. Meanwhile, 93%. You need to get a touch as the grab of desperation from Fancy just to make sure they can touch. And now again, you know, you're in just such a better position for the blow high. You used everything from the side of the Swagosaurus just to touch the point. And now you have to hold it for another 99 and capture the next one. And you're facing down Rush. You're facing down Grab soon. It's going to be so tough for this team to hold on.
Oh yeah, especially just being able to play against that Rush. We need to see very fast fight here. Do not let Para build that Rush as well. Just be able to look for McChicken, burn him down with the Rush, but instead we're having both ultimates coming out here. Spike's going to be looking to kite this, is not going to be able to fully get out. Does have the Suzu Force, but now we're going to be able to see the ebb and flow where you kite one ult and then go in with your next. As Fancy is going to be able to get Warlord. Skyster's going to fall down to the wall, not being able to get the bubble here. Riddle does fall down to 1, Void being barely into the ground, and Spike is just 1 HP and nobody's able to pick. As Fancy's also 1, and we're looking for Spike to be able to get the nice little trade here, but no, Riddle is going to be able to clean up with Wiggle Higgle, as now that is going to be match point for the map. It's match point to decide who's in match point.
What a great wall from Rue. Again, that separated that aggression of Void Fiber and Skyster there. Kept the wall off. You know, Skyster saw blood in the water. McChicken was 1 HP, dashed in to get the kill, but wasn't able to get a bubble to live through both that Mei left click and that Zarya left click. As an early pick from Riddle Dog and McChicken, that's so big now. As they need to walk forward, they need to win this fight without using any ults, and that's exactly what to do it. Spike dies fast, but has that grab for the next fight. McChicken comes close as well, but 15 seconds, they might actually be able to contest it before the point flips. As again, now you need to win the fight and get that point progress. So, very important for both these teams to posture well and win these fights.
Oh yeah, as now we're going to be able to see the 5 ultimates slowly coming online in favor of the Swagosaurus squad here. As Void and Spike are already taking fast, the fat grab, but the Blizz is the bubble's a little early. Thankfully for the Suzu, going to be able to get out here for Spike. As Fancy falls on the 1 HP, Void is not going to be able to do anything. The High Noon and the grab are going to coming out a little late on the beat here from War. Wait, Ajax?
I think it was walled off. I think it got walled.
But War died when he used beat without getting the beat heal.
Oh, unsure. I wasn't watching.
I think that's an Ajax. I think that's an Ajax. I think it was, yeah. None of you are saying Ajax as well. So we have seen 2 Ajaxes so far from the series here. One from both sides here. Because, oh, that beat was 1% off from being able to hit. You heard the whole entirety.
You cannot over ult if you are the side of the Blahajs. Skies are dying so. Oh, that's so disastrous. Now they have to kite back, and now they will have to over ult likely in a future fight. As now again, Silvertals will have that rush. Void Fiber has that their ult. Skyster will have their blade as well. No response for the side of the. Sorry, it's been a long day. You need to rush early if you're Para. You need to rush early, bait out these ultimates, make them use everything. Win this fight fast. Get ult charge on McChicken. Get ult charge on Rue. You can't just sit here and die. As again, we do see everything come out. Riddle Dog actually finds Silvertals. That's a healing out for the side of the Blowhigh. Spike does trade out Riddle Dog in response. Skyster falls very low, but Spike falls. The ult from Void Fiber does come out. Won't quite connect on anything, but Para falls. This is an even fight. War's dying to McChicken. War alone on point. Skyster pops the blade, but the grab in response from McChicken, they're able to pull it. And ladies and gentlemen, oh my goodness. What a map. And joke's on me for you know, saying that it's gonna be so tough as the Swagosaurus squad just spit in my face and said, watch this.
Yeah, the reverse sweep on Suravasa. I know in the Twitch chat somebody betted on who would win, and 99.9%.
It was
Yeah,
me.
there was the Airjacks. 99% of the points were going for the Swags, as they were able to close this out here as Nuttier loses his 10 points. But I mean, hey, going into this next map, which is going to be another control map, folks, as we... Every map has been played, every game has been played so far.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah,
correct.
yeah. As now it's going to be 3-2 here in favor of the Swags, as they are on match point, folks, here for the grand finals. As now all the pressure is being put on the Blahajs, as I think we might go to a little bit of a break while we
Hey,
allow
by the way,
the
for everyone keeping track at home, uh, every team has won their map choice. So, so far, like we said at the start, almost like it's maybe a little strong when both teams are really, really good and know what they like to play. So, are we going to map break? I have no idea.
I'd be down too, as we just gotta wait for the next Koth map to be able to be picked here very shortly. So stay tuned. It's still a very, very close series, folks. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Aurora Overwatch Clash Season 7 with the BOON1E Bowl here, the grand finals between the Reef Blahajs versus the Swagosaurus squad. As now we're seeing match point in favor here for the Swagosaurus squad, as they are up 3-2 after a nice little reverse sweep here on Suravasa. Now they're going back to King of the Hill. Koth, my favorite, onto Nepal. One of my favorite maps where it's more brawlish and more pokey or dive, and it all depends on the sub map. But like, there's a little bit of mix of everything, and we're still seeing McChicken on the Zara here. But now we're seeing the Winston again. What are your thoughts going into this here, Flambo?
Yeah. Obviously it is the Blahajs map pick. I do like the Winston, but mostly I kind of like the Pharmacy, right? Again, Riddledog has been playing a lot of hit scan today, but a nice anti, by the way, on Wiggle Higgle forces the disengage here from the side of the of the Swag squad as McChicken gets pushed in. Void Fiber may have just killed Silver Falls on accident. So now Spike getting pressured out so much. Riddledog again hitting those shots. McChicken does find War in the air, and now that Pharah is gonna be in a little bit of trouble. But 56% ult charge for Skycer and early point control for the side of the Swagosaurus squad. You're not too upset about that.
Yep, the only thing that's going to be able to shut down this Pharmacy is going to be a well-placed railgun shot here onto the head of Skycer. As now we're going to be seeing Juno coming up from the Silver Tiles to be able to help ring engages here for Spike. But we're going to see how retake central is going to happen here. We just need to see some poke neutrals here. As point might be flipped by itself, and no Fancy is going to drop early, and that's going to be a go button for Spike to go onto the backline with Void Fiber. Neither team, the bubble does not go far enough. Point is still not being flipped here, as now it's slowly being ticked away as Fancy is going to be dropping again, looking for that. Getting punished out a little bit though, uses one bubble, looking for a second. 1 HP, nobody's going to be able to get the pick though. Stong is going to get Spike very early on, and the barrage is going to look so greedy. But it does get Fancy in trying to look for Dong as well. It's not going to find it. Spike's going to be able to get the res from More as the threat of it. As Point's also going to get flipped here. Skycer's going to be able to get Dong after that. As now we're going to see both teams trying to stabilize a little bit, at least for the side of the Barrier Reef. As Spike is going down to 1 HP. He's going to get traded out. And wait a minute here. The trades are coming in favor of the Swag squad. Riddle's 1 HP looking at the point. Skycer falls down next. It's just Void on the point looking for a nice little stall here. As we're not going to see Spike being able to touch in time, as that point is going to be slowly flipped away. Never mind, Fire is low HP. We're seeing Spike coming onto the point now, as we're going to see Fire disappear on the spot, with War getting the res on a Void Fiber. I think that's a worthwhile trade. You're able to get your dive potential back, as we're seeing Fancy onto the Diva now. Is going to get demeched very early, but point could get flipped by anything. Void is staying there, as they're getting the stagger here onto McChicken by a little bit, and that was such a scrappy fight where people had to run back from spawn. But now we're seeing the points now flipping in favor of the Blahs as it ticks over from 47 to 48 here. What are your thoughts?
I really liked that that barrage from the Skycer. You both find the Zarya, who is trying to go back for that touch to restore that point, and you allowed the resurrection to come out on your take on Spike. It's not Spike will primal. The Maid's Blizzard is a little creative, won't find anything. Void Fiber popping that ult as well. Trying to find anything in the back line. You just have support ults now if you're the Swagosaurus squad, as they need to take this fight towards point, 70% and counting, as Void Fiber again going very aggressive on this side. Spike going in, will get about half their HP melted, but has Silver Tiles on that healing, has their ult as well. The Kiriko rush comes through onto this point, trying to keep McChicken up and fighting as Void Fiber will get traded out in the backline, but now point 80%. You have the Juno ult, you have the barrage. Again, the Juno ult will come out. The beat response by Riddle with he's gonna run up. The barrage comes through from Skycer. They trade out. Riddledog will fall for it. As now again, the Kiriko trying to blast in that damage. Donglag will find Silver Tiles. War will fall as well. The point does flip and they find Spike. And now again, you're in a pretty good advantage now for the side of the Swagosaurus squad. 93% facing, but you know, no ults really in coming up or close for the side of the Blowhigh, while you do have this Diva bomb, you know, Poco bomb, as they would say.
As War would say, as he did fall to a Pokebomb a little bit early. We are going to see point getting flipped right now, actually. The threat from Void Fiber making everybody the fight going off of the high ground just from having one person on point. Wiggle falling down to 1 HP. That is Suzu forced. Riddle's going to fall down next after swapping. Fire's going to be burning using Teleport and Suzu, but McChicken is going to be able to get the Wars. Spike's going to clean up on Fire, because McChicken is going to be 1 HP onto the point. Does get traded out here. using the bomb for stability, but it looks like it's going to be able to come off as the remake. But Skyster's going to be able to get wiggle after that. McChicken falling down to half HP. 1 HP is going to get traded out, and we're going to see the Blahajs here coming on top very closely, as it's going to be a miracle pick here for Riddle to be able to do anything, but the deflect from Skyster is going to put their hopes back into the trash can, as now we're seeing a advantage here for the Blahajs 1-0 onto Nepal.
Yeah, and the Blowhigh are just so good at, again, forcing that separation. You know, that's part of the advantage of having that 93% on the ult already. Void Viper can just sit there. You know, when they get pressured, they just burrow and stay alive. But when the entire team has to drop and fight together, the Winston goes in, the Genji goes in, the Venture goes in. And all they have to do is catch out, you know, one person, whether it's Wiggle Higgle, Fire, Real Dog, anyone like that. They just need to find one, and they do that so well as this team. I'm gonna be honest, I really liked the Sojourn. We do see Dong Waggler also swapping onto that Pharah, though I'm not sure if Void Fiber is still playing it. We do see the Sim, but probably just for TP. Or excuse me, Skyster's still playing it, as they're now on the Genji. But man, I really liked the Sojourn just for staying alive, having that slide, having that mobility, as Dong Waggler and Riddle Dog both finding picks early. And again, I just need to start doubting the Swagosaurus, and they immediately just win a fight. So
I mean, hey, whatever it takes. I mean, very fast fight. The benefit of the doubt is point has not unlocked yet. You have not lost any progress up until now, as it does get flipped. No, not too big of an ult economy disadvantage, other than you seeing Fire and Riddle, as Fancy goes back to spawn to swap to Zarya with Wiggle after seeing Spike being on the D.Va. But the punishment of that is you're going to lose the fight, as you're not fast enough, as Fancy's coming out, no bubbles left, looking for a burn onto him. But he is going to be able to get out with his life, as now point is in favor, but the composition is not.
I guess maybe they thought that they would just lose that next engage fight anyway, so might as well swap before you burn ult charge or give them ult charge. Skyster falls very low on the engage on the Pharah, but yeah, they did just kind of give a lot of point control and point progress for realistically no reason. That's very deep engage by Spike, falls very low, can be punished, but no, has the booster still to get away. War is in deep, will get traded out, but Riddle will pay for it as well. Skyster falls down to half HP, has to use the deflect to stay alive, is getting a lot of healing from Silvertalls here. So this fight's still in favor for both these teams as a deep engage from Spike. McChicken's falling so low. The Russian response is trying to keep everyone alive. Skyster gets traded, Void Viper gets traded, but Fire will die. McChicken will fall as well to Spike, but a nice boot from Wiggle Higgle to keep them out of this fight. Dongwalker falls very low. Silvertall's chunking in this damage and this pressure, the orbs to clean it up. And again, these swaps come through, but the Blowhigh had the point control. They're finding these picks, and it's just so hard to fight into.
Oh yeah, especially when you do lose your tank as they try to go for a swap, which is a very risky play. You are now forfeiting everything, as now you're going to be fighting into orbit, one bubble out. The kite potential though, the rapid kite, as now the grab around the corner is going to get Skyster, who is a little bit split, but nobody else is going to be able to follow. Spike falls onto one, does get demeched by Riddle and McChicken here. Now, you do use your grab, your scariest ult, but it can't get DM'd anymore. You don't have the threat of that. While you still have Barrage, High Noon, and Beat, just care Spike being able to DM that. The very high SR tank player will not let that value be able to seep through the gap unless you can find the opening. Is now Blade and Tectonic Shock are coming up as well, with Beat shortly after by War.
And again, very good trigger control there from Spike, not to just press the ult, try to get their mech back. Recognized it was already a lost fight and just went ahead and died quickly. So now they're able to have this ult as needed in this probably much closer fight here around this point. As again, I'm watching Wiggle Higgle. If Wiggle Higgle dies here with this beat, it's going to be so disastrous for the side of the Swagosaurus squad, as again, they need to essentially win 2 fights here in a row. Excavation does come out, won't quite connect on anything, but Dong Waggler will fall. Again, Silvertall's just chunking in that damage as a Juno and those orbs. Real Dog has to pop the ult, but the deflect is there. Won't quite kill anyone. The beat comes out from both teams, negating all the pressure in their backline, but McChicken dies, doesn't get the beat. And so again, this point will just go in favor of the Blowhigh. And ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between, we're going to a map 7.
Map 7? Wait, and the boot
yes,
from
we're
War.
going to a map 7.
Map 7. Okay. Now, I will let you chatters in on a little secret. None of the three people here are casting and prodding guessed it would be a map 7. Nobody predicted it would be map 7. And here you can see Silvertals putting into the work on that Juno, showing it's not just your name is not a healer, you're a support, and that means you can still do damage, and getting so many picks is so valuable here, especially on Nepal. Just being able to clean up multiple people and just be such a threat on the Juno here.
Yeah, I mean, Silvertals has been doing so much this series. Again, I shouted him out early with that Ana play. Again, recognized as well, I'm sure, by the Swagosaurus squad. They had to try to shut down Silvertals a lot, but they're on that Juno. They were pretty much single-handedly dealing with Dong Waggler on the Pharah. Like, they were the only person besides Spike shooting Dong Waggler, and Dong Waggler was just dying every single fight. So, again, Silvertals, big shout out to them. As we do, again, go to a map 7. I believe it has to be a hybrid, correct?
Somebody in chat, help us out. I mean, yeah,
Okay,
I
they're
mean,
saying any map.
any map? Okay. So, as we're going to be seeing here, as Melon is saying, really good for Swags, is they do get map choice here. The biggest thing is if you don't have Scrims Row, you don't have Saravasa, you don't have Gibraltar, which they've played a lot. I mean, that's most of the maps that Blahajs have played, or not Blahajs, Swagosaurus squad has played though, and scrimmed very often. I don't know what they're going to be walking out here. It's going to be very interesting, you know? Because what will they do? What other maps are they scrimmed? What are they going to show us their potential?
So here's what I would do if I am the side of the Swagosaurus squad. I say go to Esperanza. I say you rock the same comp you just won on. And I say, and then you win the game. Or wait,
I
sorry,
mean,
Swag Squad pick. If I were the blow high, I would hope they go to Esperanza and run the same comp so we win the game. If I am the Swagosaurus squad, I am looking at a despite losing Gibraltar earlier, um oh man, it's tough. I think you want to go somewhere that enables playing your Zarya, enables playing your venture, things like that. Honestly, you could just go New Junk City. You know, you won the Flashpoint, you won the first Koth map. Um, it's worse for like you could play Pharah on New Junk City. It's like fine, but I think again, I think you just go back to running Ruin Para. Go New Junk City, run that venture, run that. Again, you could play Kiriko or anything else, but that said, I don't know. This is a very tough decision for the Swagosaurus squad. Um, as I personally not built for it.
that's fair enough. I do think New Junk is going to be a little shaky, as you did barely win by doing a reverse sweep on that map, though. So
Yeah.
I really can't see a New Junk coming out here. If I'm going to say anything, I could
Oh,
see
that's a map.
a Circuit Royale. I mean, that makes some sense to help prevent the dive, but if I'm not going to lie to you, I don't think the Blahas care. I think they're just going to run a Winston comp. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah. I think they just still run
They're forcing the
Winston.
Sig, though.
Like I think Skyser's gonna play Pharah. They're gonna have the Mercy. Void Fiber's still just gonna play Venture. I I want to see Void Fiber in one map this season play something other than if any time it's now in the grand finals, last map confirmed. I want to see him come out. Just I think it'd be so great, so funny if Void Fiber comes out here like on Widowmaker and runs the lobby.
I think the issue here, I really don't like this pick here from the
Oh
Swags. I
no,
really
sorry, this I actually like this. They did this against us. It wasn't the best comp or the best, but what they do is they just have Wiggle Higgle play Torbjorn. Riddle Dog's gonna play a long range like Sojourn, but Para and Fire are then both gonna play really aggressive, greedy supports. Are gonna run like Zen Kiri or Bap Kiri or like Ana, like things like that, and they're just essentially gonna be like 5 DPS with McChicken playing Zarya, super greedy for themselves. Wiggle Higgle's gonna play that Torb around the around Cart. Again, play so far back, and they're just gonna bully Spike and just do so much damage. that they're not going to be able to establish. But again, I think of the maps, you know, thinking about it, I said it's a really tough decision. This is the most map that's whoa, excuse me. This is the map that's the most unlike every other map. So the Swagosaurus are deciding here, like, you can keep playing the same stuff you're playing. We're gonna call your bluff. We're gonna take it to this thing where that's probably worse, right? But we'll see. It'll be fun.
Yeah, I think the Blahajs have gone to a couple of Circuit Royales being counter picks for, right? Just
Mhm.
expecting, oh, you really don't want to play Winston Venture here. But I believe the Blahajs, I can be corrected if I'm wrong. I don't know if they've lost the circuit. I know they played one, I think in week 7 or week 8. I might be wrong. I might be yelled at in the chat. But anyways,
Couldn't tell you.
I think they're trying to. I don't know. It feels weird because on Circuit Royale, you kind of want to play the Sigma here. You want to play for your poke, but that kind of feeds into what the Blahas kind of want to do here, where they just want to be able to dive and fight. Where the Sig is not going to be able to effective into Winston. I think the Zar is going to feel a little bit awkward. I just it feels questionable to me. Because we've known that the Blahas have played Circuit Royale multiple times, and they've just stuck to their Winston Genji venture roots here, and just forcing a map that favors Sig. And you know, Fancy loves Sig. You could be seeing that too. It's just gonna be so interesting to see. I feel like it's not the best map pick that we can see here.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll find out. You couldn't have asked for a better ending.
Yeah,
uh,
Circuit Royale.
yeah, Circuit Royale. Everybody loves Circuit Royale. What a great map. Sorry to the 3 people who like Circuit Royale in chat, but I don't Widowmakers, I don't care about your opinion. I'm kidding. I'm sorry. I love all of you, but um yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of like at a lack of words because I think this is a very weird. Because I mean, in theory, do you really have a sniper player other
No.
than like Riddle playing the hit scan
But the thing is
on the
neither
Swags?
team does, right? So, and I think in terms of hit scan, Riddle Dog Sojourn is going to be better than I think what Void Fiber or Skyster will bring out. The exception being if Silver Talls plays Ana or something again, they're hitting every single shot today, right? So I think they're calling the bluff of, again, Circuit Royale being this very long range poke heavy. It forces the dives to have to be really fast from the blow high, or it forces those cooldowns from them very early uh, to even get on top of the swag squad, right? You're gonna have a Torbjorn, you're gonna have a Sojourn, you're gonna have a Zen probably, and you're gonna have a Ana or Kiriko probably to just pressure down damage in those long angles, and it's gonna be so hard for the blow high to walk forward, take that space. But that said, it's gonna be hard on when the on attack for the Swagosaurus squad because I feel like the defense from the blow high is just going to be really strong. But I don't know.
It's just such an interesting thing. For those in chat, we do have a little bio, so we're just yapping a little bit. That is why we're having a little bit of a waiting period as
Mm.
chat is going off a little bit weird. But I
I'm
mean, hey,
honestly thinking about it. I think I would have picked Shambali or like Hollywood. I think, um, or honestly even like Numbani. Just things where it's gonna be hard for that venture to set up and get on where you're trying to play, right? But again, same idea though. You're playing these really long angles. I like trying to change it up. I brought up in the last map break you know, they're essentially coin flipping all the maps by playing the same thing every single time. So I like moving Wiggle to DPS. We'll see if it works. But I like that changes are being made and that the Swag Squad are being aggressive with these changes as we head into this map 7.
As now the comps are being released, we are going to see the Sig, Torb, Ash, Zen, Bap coming out from the side of the Swagosaurus squad. Which, as you said, this is kind of what you're saying. But I think I'm thinking Spike is going to be swapping. We're going to be I'm assuming we're going to be seeing Void go back, probably to maybe a little bit of a venture here.
Yeah.
Corey,
My
it
hands
seems
are
like the stream is not being shown the game right now. Just to let you know. NA production, I'm being told. Okay, as now we're swapping into the game view, guys. Sorry about
Okay.
that.
Hands are in the air. Void Fiber is not on venture, guys. I just want an alert. Void Fiber is on the Pharah. Everybody panic.
Everybody panic. We are seeing hands about to be thrown here as Void Fiber's going over top, scouting the comp, realizing a little bit, relaying some information to the team. As we're seeing possibly a full comp swap. Wiggles falling down to 1 HP from where?
Oh, and they're back.
The spam of Silver Toss. Okay. As we're seeing the venture again.
You know what? I'm happy. I got the 25 seconds of Pharah.
Yeah,
as again,
the Hall of Fame.
You know, very safe kiting right now from the side of the Swagosaurus squad. I kind of dislike it, right? You're kind of boxing yourself now. You're getting rid of those very long angles I was just talking about that you want to be able to use. Again, it makes sense when you're facing. Okay, well, as again, I start downing them and they get the picks. Fire finds Void Fiber. Riddle Dog finds Skyster off a nice headshot. And now again, Spike very alone is just having to play greedy with these bubbles. But McChicken walking forward, punching this damage as we do see Skyster swapping over onto this hit scan. Riddle Dog finds one, Wiggle finds the other, McChicken finds War. And now, again, I would push up a little bit, but I guess you are expecting a full dive. But again, you have the benefit of poke. You have window here coming up. You have the flux here coming up. You're really only facing down a rush from Silvertals, so we will certainly see. As again, that big pick from Riddle Dog on Void Fiber here at the start.
Oh yeah, looking at this especially now, we are seeing the first couple ults coming online, which the first one of map 7, the last map, is going to be fire with the window, unless Fancy cheats and gets 10% right now. But as we're going to be seeing, there's no ultimates really coming online other than the Kiriko Kitsune here by Silvertals on the side of the Fiery Reef Blahajs. As space is being made here, Spike is already on the corner with Fancy dropping now. As now, both teams are just going to be neutering this out. You're looking to be able to get some energy here for Spike. You want to play a little bit slow. As Fancy is going to be walking up a little bit far here. Kitsune and Window come out very early with the Flux. The Flux is going to hit your Lucio player War, and that is going to be traded out. We're looking for some dives here. Spike is going to be antied as Fancy is going to be split from his team. Looking to get burnt out. You're seeing Void Fiber hearing that, looking for the trade, but no, they are going to be able to stable out as Spike is going to live, and everybody else. Dynamite was massive. Now Spike is going to be able to have this energy advantage though, and it's going to slowly trickle down on McChicken.
Yeah, you might have to give them the corner. Really unlucky that the turret falls there from Wiggle because you probably wanted that to be in the backline here, protect against this dive, but Void Fiber gets scouted out by Fire. If either one of them dies here, that's going to be so disastrous for the team. Again, scouted out, but Fire's getting knocked everywhere. The excavation gets shut down by Wiggle, but Spike finds Riddle Dog. And even fight here, the grab is online. The beat as well by War just to ensure this fight win. As now McChicken getting walked over. They had the trank they didn't use. They end up dying. McChicken gets straight out as well. And now it's just Fire on the cart. Oh, you had to use the trank there to stabilize in this fight, I think.
Oh yeah, I mean the benefit of what you do get the beat, you do get the Terra Surge out. Not Terra Surge.
Yeah, we know what
Tectonic shock. The tectonic shock here from Void Fiber. You do have the scary grab, which is probably what you're saving Transcendence for, personally, because you don't have any other answer to that, but you do see Fire already coming up on another window. Fancy with another Flux. Very impressive here. I just want to be able to see what Sky's going to be able to do with his blade, looking for a pick. See if you can force out Transcendence, then you can grab afterwards and take a nice little fight win here. But as card is still trickling down the point, we're going to be seeing how they go here.
Yes, Suzu is used early from Silver Sauce here, but they have the rush, they have the blade, they have the grab as well. Blade comes through, gets rocked. What a bubble from Spike there to keep Spicer from getting rocked on that very aggressive blade. The Trank comes out from Para, keep everyone nice and healthy, but the window counter engage is so big. Spike just gets absolutely melted. Void Viper now in the backline trying to trade out, but will just get blown up here as the Swagosaurus will walk forward, set up for this fight, and maybe even get a stagger here on War. Very helpful for their team as well.
Yeah, Spike did something a little bit questionable there, walked a little bit too far. There's now even people are talking about that in chat as well. Yeah, you just walked a little bit too far into a window, was not playing the cover of the cart or being able to get on the side, but everybody knows Sigurd has some pretty mediocre cover. As now you still have the grab, but now you're seeing Fancy already coming up to another flux and no beat to be able to stabilize.
Ooh, what a rock!
Kitsune does come out looking for picks onto Wiggle. The grab coming out, very huge. Have to break the lamp. Lamp is keeping up. A huge lamp stables everybody's. Nobody's going to be able to shoot that. As now it's going to be another trade off here as Spike is going to be stuck pushing the cart, getting staggered. As now we're at 1 minute and 20 seconds left onto the clock here for the final map.
Yeah, and again, I'm liking this turret position a little bit more here from Wiggle. I think they're trying to be a little bit too aggressive with their turrets, and they're just getting poked out immediately. As Spike does swap over on the Winston again, trying to punish this very greedy backline. But McChicken has been hitting these rocks, has been doing so much on the tank all series. As, again, Void Fiber has no cooldowns now, might be punished. As Road Dogg taking a very aggressive angle up front here. Skyster will break the turret. Nice rock again on Void Fiber as they fall down to half HP, but will get healed up by their team. War has a beat. Void Fiber coming up on that tectonic shock, but the Bob is the first thing out. Again, just to make a little bit of space. Another big rock by McChicken takes Void Fiber completely out of the fight. That's no tectonic shock in this fight, and now 30 seconds left, and they have a late kill on Skycer. It's going to be so hard for the side of the Blahajs to set up and get a big fight here. They're going to have to go in and use these ults very aggressively, and there's going to be a Trank on the back end of it.
Yeah, you can just see the pressure that McChicken is doing here, being so mechanically skilled, doing so much for his team here, preventing everybody. Silvertails falls onto one, looking for his stagger. Fancy drops. Nobody's going to be able to do that, but we do see the ultimates coming online. The flux into the window is going to be a killer combo, but you do have the beat for it. We're going to have to see as this makes or breaks teams. Who's going to be on the card?
Sorry. Oh my god.
Void and Spike are 1 HP. You're seeing the flux on Skycer preventing the dive onto the backline. As now Card is slowly walking as that rock is just going to kill Void Fiber. McChicken putting in this legacy game type work here. Knowing that the Sigma will always just being able to play the Sigma rail is just going to be so threatening when you put Fancy onto Sigma. Just hitting every single rock, being so punishing here, especially with that flux onto the Genji blade, preventing your backline from falling apart is just going to be the correct solution to be able to stay holding that second objective here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much stream has been watching Fancy. Fancy has not missed a rock on this map. And Spike, when Spike was playing Zarya, they had some pretty big bubbles to protect people, but Skycer, Void Fiber, Silvertall's War, all of them are just getting rocked and blown up every single fight. I'm sorry, I'm glazing McChicken, but it has been ridiculous. And so now, though, the downside is now you have to attack into this as this long-range poke comp, which is going to be a lot harder than their defense.
Especially when you're coming up here, when you're playing this poke comp into a team that does not want to let you have the space to be able to play this poke. Every corner is going to be hard fought here, folks. And every single corner, if they can get a minute out, this is still very winnable here for the Blahajs. But we're going to have to see Fancy here on the Sigma, putting in god numbers here. Actually just being server admin, lobby admin in the grand finals, map 7, where the nerves are at an all-time high. They are still able to lock in and be able to put in such a performance.
Yeah, absolutely insane. Another rock connects. This one in by Spike, not as big of a deal, but again, a very close hold here coming from the Blahajs. They need to take these fights fast and aggressive and find these picks, but they cannot get poked out here. Again, this the Sigma's just gonna be able to shoot into these corners, get this poke damage, but Riddle Dog needs to be careful as now the engage comes through. Wiggle will get blown up a little bit, but Skyster as well falls very low. Needs to be careful. Void Fiber actually the one punished in the back line after going in on Riddle Dog. Wiggle will get traded out. McChicken falls very low. Both tanks here fighting. The Rock will get blocked by a shield, but McChicken will actually be the one to fall. Nice punch by War to clean up that fight. And again, Spike living there is so big for the side of the Blahajs. They do have to wait for Void Fiber to come back, but losing McChicken here is kind of tough. But 75% ult.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they are going to be able to hold this first corner. Still very strong here playing out as you get Void Fiber back, looking for a dive. Fire getting the nice little 3-shot here onto Skycer is very empowering as Para's going to be able to get Sky. You do invest the Kitsune ult after losing 2 people looking for trades, which Void Fiber does in fact. I find that one onto Riddle Dog here as they're still brawling this corner. Minute 30 is already off of the clock. Window does get used next. Looking onto this, as now both teams are just fighting, looking for just dying on point, slowly staggering that you need to go point now. Void, you need to go point now. All right, guess you are set up. Turret knows you're there though. You are going to be scouted out, and Fancy is going to be walking up on you as now you are going to lose your life in a... never mind. You're going to keep your life for this. It's just going to be a recreational stagger though. It's just going to be a huge one because you're not going to be able to fight with the team as you're just not going to be so fast as you're just going to be able to poke out. Spike getting rocked early on. With the flux coming out, B from War is going to be able to stable with the Trank coming out for the blade of the Skycer. As now Void is finally able to regroup with their team. Now minute 50 left on the clock here. We'll see how both teams do as the Annihilation comes out from Spike. Looking for a peek, gets 1, gets 2, looking on the back line, looking for a third, trying to get greedy as Skycer's going to get traded out. And that's going to be what a huge annihilation here.
Yeah, and
it's now they're going to be able to hold this corner.
Yeah, importantly, now you're reset up here for the Blahajs. You are going to be down Skycer, they'll be back fast. War's going to speed them back, right? The big thing for this team is you have the speed advantage, right? It's so hard to poke out. Real Dog will have a Bob in this fight as well as Wiggle, swapping or still playing that Torbjorn, will be close to a core. But you should be able to just speed over, right? Void Fiber falls very low, but we'll have this Tectonic Shock as well. Silvertall's coming very close to that rush. But need to be careful. Big dynamite from Riddle Dog. Bob will come through, pinches everyone into this
slow
pit, but yeah. Silvertall does get traded by McChicken, and Bob is still in that backline doing a lot of pressure. McChicken finds 1, finds 2, finds 3. Void Fiber trying to look for 1, finds Fire. It's just McChicken on this point against Spike and the Venture.
Oh, yeah, Rock canceling the ultimate here. That is a Sigma player there, folks.
Oh
as you
my
see,
God.
McChicken is going to be able to clean up the entire team here on the objective, allowing his team to come back. 30 seconds left onto the point. No ultimate's going to be able to touch other than the Kitsune, but you don't have your tank yet. You're going to have to give it up as Skycer does get rocked, preventing the touch here.
As
Check NPC,
check NPC.
Fancy is putting in GOAT numbers here, folks. This is going to be a legacy game, as now McChicken is just going to be server admin, running over the entire team, as now they're holding the space, exactly the amount of space that they need to get the win here. 2 minutes and 30 seconds left. You are up in ults here. All you have to do is cinch this out and play slowly enough as you get the flux as it hits just the Ramatra and you're hitting the Lucio, as now Spike is going to be split, going to die. The window coming out, and that's going to be the cleanup, folks, as it's going to be Skycer and Void Fiber onto the objective. And that, folks, very shortly after now, with 3 on point, is going to be your Season 7 Aurora Overwatch Clash, possibly. Never mind the touch coming out. All onto the point. It did a little bit of staggers. Riddle falling down first. Wait, this is still up with the B coming into the point. Silvertall's falling down to the 1 HP, is going to get traded out by Para. The Transcendence from Para is just going to be able to save the entire team as nobody's going to be out. But you still have 4 on point. You have to look for a trade. Spike's half HP fighting onto the point. As next Para is going to be able to get War, and next Void Fiber falling hit the Discorded Fire. No, that is going to be the cleanup here. As now your winners of the Aurora Overwatch Clash Season 7 BOON1E Bowl is going to go to the Swagosaurus squad. And let me tell you, folks, I don't even know if I could. I'm going to speak for Flambo here. I think we might know who our MVP is here tonight.
Yeah.
We
Um,
are we're gonna have to get Fancy in the call here, folks. There is no other person to be able to talk to about this GOAT performance, as we just saw Fancy literally just like 1v5 the entire enemy team there in 2 different fights. He is not going to be the loser here tonight.
and I loved it. Again, I said before the map, I'm so happy that the Swagosaurus squad did something different. And they came out, ran that Sigma comp, ran Wiggle on that Torbjorn to deny the dives. It was so clean. A couple of those fights looked close. They looked so in favor of the Blahajs. Again, both of these teams deserve so much recognition for everything they've done this season, right? Map 7 on Grand Finals, that's the closest you can make it. But in the end, the Swagosaurus squad pull it out. They pull out this win, and a very deserving one at that. So let's pull in McChicken.
Admin, somebody, psst, people in the chat, work your magic, please. Pull in favors. Anybody. We're gonna wait like
We're gonna wait like 1 second.
we're gonna everybody ping all the admins, please, right now. At ping.
Oh, I can pull them if they join a call. Okay, I got it. If I can.
Oh.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
Hello, McChicken.
Oh.
Yep.
The one and only Fancy pulling in GOAT numbers here, actually putting on the Infinity Gauntlet as you're coming on to Circuit Royale. How does it feel, man?
Oh, it feels so fucking good. Holy shit, bro.
Whoa, TOS.
Oh, sorry. We're not allowed to curse.
Not really, but it's fine.
Holy crap.
How do you feel right now? How are the nerves?
So
Let us
good.
know.
My heart, I think I have 200 BPM at the current moment.
Holy.
Like, dude. We go circuit, we put it in the hands of my Sigma. I mean, actually, no. Let me rephrase. We put it in the hands of the Wiggle Torbjorn. And he clutched up.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Again, I'm sure you're probably gonna go back and watch the VOD, but again, I was so excited. I don't know. Again, maybe chat will back me up on this. I was so excited when I saw you guys move to that comp on circuit. I said, "Oh, I like that they're doing something different." And I know that this long range poke and this Torb deny of the dive is gonna be so fun and good.
Dude, the Ram comp nearly had us, but we
1v5.
there was that one fight. I think was it a 5K?
It was a 5K, I believe.
Yeah, there was that one fight, and then after that, we just had such a good ult advantage that like I could go in with Flux without having to worry about beat, and then oh my god, tears in my eyes.
I
Yeah,
mean,
as the chat's saying, 1v9.
yeah, I said it in chat. Can you stop hitting every single it just makes everyone else feel so bad watching this because no one else can. Well, maybe some people can do that, but every single fight I was WYND is doing the play-by-play, and I just go, oh, because I see you hit a rock and then kill someone at the start of the fight. It just every single time without fail. Like it was ridiculous. It was unreal.
Yeah. I mean, they have to extra guard their rotations, but they can't extra guard their rotations because they have 2 flanking DPS, meaning I'm not pressured, so I just do what I want.
And that
Well,
is what
besides
she did,
that,
in
besides
fact.
just the Sigma, and again, obviously you played other things today too. You know, you played the Zarya, which you're well known for. Again, the bubbles were so good. You're again, we were kind of talking about it where you were killing 3 people while also keeping half your team alive. Like you were very rarely even using the bubbles for yourself, which you were still at like 100 charge and just walking into their team and killing people. So again, you did great on that front. Again, your Devo looked clean. I know you guys lost Gibraltar, but again, the Diva has just looked consistently good all season. You know, you're so good at knowing that pressure, knowing the targets you can collapse on. And again, I'm not going to glaze you too much, but you know, now is the time because you are the Grand Finals MVP and champion of Season 7, Aurora.
Dude, finally. Dude, I hadn't even played in the finals until this season.
Oh yeah, this is your first win.
This is
That's
my first
crazy to
finals.
me.
This is my first finals.
Well, hopefully
what
for
a way
you,
to
one of
bang.
many. But
Hopefully. Run it back.
I
Well,
I
all right.
I do got one question.
Yeah.
What was your thought process on Swagosaurus coming back with that reverse sweep when everything was just looking so dire when you were down 2-0?
I genuinely we went down 0-2 and then I saw that we only had Kyriel and we were fight playing that they had a bunch of ults and I went frick. And I was like, you know what? We just need to get a pick. And that I think that's what we did. Or it was like last fight on the third point and we only had Kyriel. And we Riddle's ult tracking was amazing. Like the amount of times that we got picks based off of his ult tracking, because I knew that like the Genji was off angling because they had blade. Like we just locked in. We knew what we had to do, and we did it.
I mean, it was just looking so dire when they were up 2-0. And I just see you guys slowly take each point back coming over. And just, man, it is just
Mhm.
so oppressive to see your whole team just be able to pull back something like that.
Yeah. I mean, shout out to all of them. Honestly, okay. Big shout out to I think Pear didn't lose a map this series.
correct.
Like Pear went 3-0, and shout out to
I
Rue.
think
Like
Rue, yeah.
yeah, we've been a team that historically has struggled on the control and on the flashpoint, but they showed up and they locked in, and it worked out. Like I think it was also mid Swagosaurus. I told Para I was like our Kyriels are being kind of misused because we usually like are the team that takes the tempo, but against this Venture Zarya team, we decided to just instead play to punish or play to bait out the CDs and then punish. So he adapted really well. I mean, everyone did really well.
I mean,
Yeah,
the LeBron, man. You are LeBron right now. I hope you know.
dude, living in my fantasies. Like, uh, shout out to High Key. I think this series is harder to win if we don't have Panini as our captain. I will say Panini was so goated. He prepped every single map that they played their last two matches, I think, or last match. And he gave screenshots of how they would set up and their comps and everything. Like, unironically, beyond goated.
Interesting. So a little leak on the Panini manager side.
Yeah, but he didn't play, so.
Like, oh my god! But everything worked. We executed like the maps that we picked. Winning that first control map was so unimaginably clutch, especially because this series just became who wins their chosen map.
Mhm.
So winning that first, oh my god, cinema. I'm a little sad that we didn't hold on the Roadhog on Gibraltar.
It was close.
It was close. It was one fight away, but we didn't.
I mean, I said it to the. I mean, the Blahajs again. I'm giving them still a lot of credit because obviously it was a close series, and
Oh yeah,
they are a worthy team of
Mhm.
going to a map of 7
Yeah,
and getting
yeah.
second place. They do have one of the best dives of the
Mhm.
of the league, right? So, um,
And I do think they are like an amazing team. Very luckily for us, I think my hero pool matches up very well against what they want to do.
mhm.
I play the Zarya and the Diva, and they've been playing Hazard all season. Both of them decently hard counter Hazard. Um, Zarya's really good into the Venture, in my own personal opinion.
Mhm.
Um,
I agree.
the Zarya mirror was giving us a little bit of trouble. I'm glad we won it on our map of KR, but
Yeah,
um,
Scrims Row.
yeah, no. I mean, every single person after each map, I was saying, okay, we need to fix this, and then they went to the next map, clear headset, and they fixed it, and it was peak.
I got
Yeah.
one more question.
Yeah.
Be honest, I want an estimate. How many scrims have you had this season?
Here.
Give me the estimate. Give me the estimate.
How many
Well,
weeks is the season?
Yeah, 8 weeks and then plus postseason.
8 weeks plus 2 weeks
So
of
like 11.
postseason.
Like
So
11.
So,
Well, okay, because we played this match and our last match in the same week, but
11 weeks. How many scrims?
I think probably close to 20. Maybe
than
not
that.
up there.
you,
Really?
you definitely have
Yeah,
more
probably,
than
probably.
20.
Yeah, it was. Um, I said 1 to 2 times a week, but I know it's erring on the two. I don't think we scrimmed 3 times a week that often. Beginning of season we did, and then we cooled off. But
Who would
I
have
mean,
thought, chat, the team that scrims the most won it all?
dude, we got a bunch of competitive gamers on my team, and I couldn't be happier. Like,
I mean,
Well,
congratulations.
thank you, thank you. Everyone is still in Team VC.
yeah, we're gonna let you go. We have
that.
one more question again
Yep.
before we end everything, and you're very well familiar with this question.
Mhm.
If you were not Grand Finals champion MVP today for your team, who would you pick on your team and why?
I'm between 2 choices.
Yeah, you
I
could pick
would-
both.
I would pick Para, except he only played 3 out of 7 maps. But he won all 3. 100% win percentage. Unironically very goated. He adjusted. His playstyle fit very well into their comp. But I do really have to leave it to Wiggle Higgle. His playstyle against exactly what they're trying to do, where this enemy team, the Blahajs, play really fast to punish slight positioning mistakes. He just plays super calm. He plays very careful. And he was barely caught out, if ever. Like, especially for being the lowest SR player on the team by a technicality. Not by a technicality, I think he is. Even for that, he never got caught out. He played safe. His beats were good. Like, I unironically could not ask for more from him. And then, without me asking for more, he can play the Torb and enable our poke comp. Like, Wiggle Higgle,
That was bomb.
unironically, I think, and I've told people about this, I think is so unimaginably important to our team that, like, when Panini sent out the form, who are we voting for MVP? I was like, odds of me getting it are probably low because I got it years ago. I'm gonna vote Wiggle Higgle. He's played in every single map, and when he was gone and Panini was filling, and slight disrespect to Panini, Panini is not Wiggle Higgle, and we lost that match. That was one of our 2 losses. Like, yeah, that's my Wiggle Higgle glaze of the day.
It's almost like low SR players who provide high value on their role are really in Aurora. So and as again evidence, and again not to take away from either team's win today, but again War and Wiggle Higgle, arguably 2 of the best low SR players in the league. Both made it to grand finals, so map 7, right? So again, huge shout outs to again both of them. But we again, I've been on a team with Wiggle before. I know how good they are. Super fun to play with. And again, we definitely saw it today. That patience, those beats were really good. We were kind of surprised we only saw one. Well, I guess we weren't really surprised because again, the everyone was playing so well, but only 2 Ajaxes in 7 maps is very different from the rest of the season has been, especially when you're going against things like Adventure and Genji, right? Like those are characters where, you know, they're gonna be looking for you at the start of every single map. Right?
And honestly, like, kudos to their team playing around my grabs super well, because my grabs is War was charging beat decently fast, so I would throw in grab and I'd just try and hard focus War, because otherwise we're both just gonna hold them, and my chance of building grab fast are better than his chance of using beat fast. So I'm like, I might as well use it. And then I would hard focus him, but their team would Suzu him during the beat, or bubble during the beat. And so I only got one, but that one won us the map of Saravasa. So very, very good.
Well, again, fancy McChicken, however you'd like to be referred to as. Congratulations, one final time. Go celebrate with your team. You know, you guys earned it. What a great season. And I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up for everyone here. Thank you all, chat, for being here. Everyone else in the Aurora community. Again, we're always so thankful to run this every few months. Big thank you to Corey here on Prod, running all this for us today. For WYND joining me on the co-cast. And again, everybody, all the admins, all the commissioners, everybody here involved with the league for having another great season. I've been FlamboJambo, again, joined by the incredible Corey, the incredible WYND. And for one final time this season, have a great night. Drink some water, stay safe, and we'll see you next season.
Have a good night, guys.